Ready for my house. Close that. Yeah, so it's okay. Yeah. I don't know if that was it's like say I didn't want to. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You always consider.
We have the every once in a while. Pop up.
Yeah, it's not for you guys.
You had to tell us that, John. We live in our illusion for late. Everyone wants to hear about
I
it.
just realized I never.
No, it's for the, officer.
Twice, yeah, the third time, you know.
They can turn on the top, so. Yeah, okay, I'm done. It's got good everywhere.
Yeah.
Hello.
I'm still got a few more minutes. Oh, Shannon, what were the adjustments?
The adjustments, there's more donations that will go to the Chewonki Elephant. There's the letter to mailer added on. I do actually have some photos for you for the cover of the town report. And then there are gonna be some speakers attending from the library, as far as I know.
Yeah.
I think kind of great for that.
That's on.
Okay, yes, that is on here. I have multiple, I have not, no, for some. For $30.
Yeah, we went.
You just go for it for $50.
Oh, yeah.
$20. Is Rachel on there?
You know, I might go.
Okay.
Now you're gonna have to listen. while I
Not
get-
sure. I'm not sure. I might go.
Yeah.
You want to go?
Yeah, I guess it's a budget, you know. I said, yeah, this is a time honored doing recreation.
Tom Moran. I don't know if Tom Moran is New York.
I'll enjoy the look down by the gate, by the school.
I was right to the right of us.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's the different.
Yes. Spacefield and Wallace are right on.
Yes.
Yes, I didn't know his name.
Are you gonna be able to go?
That's what Brand.
Six.
Multimedia.
Didn't know it.
Yeah, sure.
Until the end of
Barbara.
I know.
Where are you going?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Wife of mine.
Great on it, our levels down here.
Barbara, you and me.
Thank
Harry, you remember that? You want? Used to be me, Jeff, Penny, and Bob.
Oh, yeah.
Back in that one.
Yes.
Yes, I remember me.
I did, meeting after meeting after meeting.
We still need our election.
Yeah. So should be coming.
Things are. She's a puppy. Oh, they're parking out back.
A lot of work. I go up number 12, back when I was.
All those trucks take up a lot of space. Yeah.
Phone, I was just up there. Yeah.
People will be driving out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not bad. Everything's. And.
There's seats up here.
Thank you. Marty.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, Margaret's not around here.
Yeah.
When was that?
Couple weeks ago.
Is she older than?
And you never know it.
He was gruff. He could be too,
Yeah. Like this. I'll just turn and look at it. No, I'm kidding. I am free.
Are we ready to go? Technologically speaking.
This thing is not moving now.
This one.
I think it's because it's, yeah, back front.
You get it a while.
Okay, it's 6:01.
It's
I'm
staring.
gonna call this meeting to order of the Board of Selectmen, April 28th. We got a lot of people in the room. So if you have a conversation, I'd appreciate it if you take it outside because it's gonna be difficult to hear, as it is. Gonna jump around on the agenda a little bit.
Seats up front.
Oh, yeah, the seats up here.
Don't want me in the front. We won't. Eric Waterman, please.
Mine is
Orange bears up here.
Up here. There's a couple in there.
Top right end of the table there. Looking for a couple glasses. Wrong last name.
Okay, we just called the meeting to order and I asked, this is so many people, if we could, if you got conversations amongst yourself, if you could take it outside, because it's gonna be hard enough to hear as it is, so appreciate that. So, I am gonna jump around and take some things out of order, but, the first item, second item is pledge of allegiance. Jeff, if you lead it.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of April 13th and 14th?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Report of members? Jeff, anything?
Just a reminder that the Ordinance Review Committee is hosting a public information meeting tomorrow night at the school, the old school, to discuss the mineral extraction ordinance and a site plan review ordinance that have been distributed and are available. They're at the 90% complete level, but we wanted to get feedback on them before we finalized them prior to the end of May when we need to do a public hearing.
Sue?
No.
I just very briefly, since I've been getting calls about Buttermilk Lane, I wanted to remind everyone that 131-73 Buttermilk Lane and Dublin are state roads, not the town's responsibility. So, I'd appreciate not getting called about it.
Can I take that a little further?
Yeah.
It's not only not our responsibility, we're not allowed to do.
Right.
Yeah, so we don't have any right of way to do that.
Okay. Adjustments to the agenda, Shannon. Oh, I'm remiss, we should introduce our new clerk, Shannon Brown, started 3 days ago or a week ago, last week. When you come in, say hi, but don't give her a hard time, cause she's just learning. And,
And give her
You
a
can give
couple.
give her a couple of weeks before you give her a hard time. Janet, adjustments to the agenda you have?
Adjustments include, more donations made towards the talk from Chewonki Owls of Maine. We have a letter from Ted Mailer regarding road work. I believe that was Buttermilk Lane. We do want to review the cover options for the town report, as well as I just had a note that there might be speakers attending for the library, but we have that as
Yeah,
well.
that's already. on.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great, thank you very much. So public comments for items not on the agenda. Okay, not on the agenda, yeah, all right.
I've been out of town, so I wanted to check, will there be a candidates forum for all the people running for select board? And if so, if it's already been planned, what day it is, because.
Well, I've been invited to it. So I can tell you, it's on, the 15th, which I think is a Friday night. And I felt like saying, what are you doing on a Friday night? But that's okay, that's the people that are organizing it, that's what they decided. I don't know the time.
6 p.m.
Is that, and I assume it's gonna be a Gilbert Butler. Yeah,
And is it gonna go out on the news feed? Cause I didn't get a copy of it, or if it did,
well, we're not organizing it, number one.
Okay.
But we certainly, we're town business, I think we certainly could put it on the news feed.
Okay.
I think. Bev St. Clair, Sharon, Stetz, and somebody else is organizing it. But I only know about it because I got invited to it, so.
okay.
Yeah.
My second item, and it's just, I wanted to just commend Ben St. Clair for doing an outstanding job at the library. When I just got into town this weekend, I was saddened to hear that she had resigned. And I just think she did an awesome job at the library, and I wanted to make that public and part of the notes here. Because all her hard work and the folks of her core group of people that did the work and got the dirt and the mess out of there should be all amended and told who they were and have a big clap for them and do something, because they did so much and Bev spearheaded it, so I wanted to make that clear. And then my last item and no comments either, but I went to the facilities committee today, and when I asked a question concerning hazmat, Bunker was the rudest person and totally out of line. And people that are in the public going to a meeting, there should be transparency, there should be civil talk. But that man was totally out of line. 2 people on the committee apologized for him after the meeting. That's not their right to do that because he's the one at fault. He's totally out of line. The transparency is not there. And I feel that the town of South Thomaston should be better than that. And I just want to make that clear. Thank you.
Yeah. Was that, Harry, do we know if that was recorded
It was on Zoom.
or was it recorded though?
It wasn't on YouTube, but it's not recorded on Zoom.
So it's not recorded. You can't go back and look at it now.
I can.
Oh, you
Or, can,
What
Don't
we-
take it back, you know.
We could.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Hi.
I just wanted to stop by.
Wait a minute,
Now,
Sally, you're not
yeah,
muted.
I know, I can't,
good thing we can't see you. Okay. All right, I'm gonna, I know most people in the audience are here to talk about the harbor master issue. But we do have 3 folks from RSU 13 that want to talk about the proposed budget. So I'm gonna take you guys up out of order and then let you get out of here so you don't have to listen to the harbor master discussion. And, so if you want to introduce yourself, I don't know if you want to introduce who, but.
I'm gonna put my cane right there, if that's okay.
That's fine.
I thought all you folks are here to see us. That's okay. My name's John McDonald. I'm the superintendent of schools for RSU 13 and have been since 2014, so 12 years. Patty Hunt is our business manager and Brad Hoyt is one of our school board reps for South Thompson. So thanks for coming out tonight. Before we get into budget, I thought I'd give you a little bit of an update on the schools because the budget is a resource that supports the schools, the kids and the programs. So you really deserve to know how that's all going. And this first part I'll read you, just so I don't leave anything out, and I'll try not to read to you after that, because you know that's not what you need. The district is demonstrating measurable academic growth, improved student engagement, stronger support systems, and that's reflective of effective use of resources and collaborative leadership. The progress is data-driven, it's transparent, it's aligned with long-term community investment in education. And you hear a lot in the media about Maine performance in math and literacy, and they pick out metrics. That's not RSU 13. We're actually doing quite well. In mathematics, we've had significant multi-year gains in math proficiency. That's across grade levels. District proficiency increased by more than 10 percentage points over several years. And the success is linked to adoption of aligned high quality instructional materials, consistent teaching practices, great teachers, ongoing professional development and instructional coaching, and that's our model. In literacy, our growth is trending upwards as well. Stronger improvements visible at the elementary levels. That's attributed to improved foundational skills, curriculum resources. I'll repeat that, foundational skills. Two-phase literacy strategy implemented 24-25 that focuses on comprehension and deeper reading instruction, 25-26. Now, if you look at our cohorts, that shows encouraging year-to-year progress with continued acceleration expected. More recent winter data review, grades 2 to 5, showed a 5 percentage point increase fall to winter per grade level. That's extremely promising. And our spring testing is coming in. It's also looking really, really good. Our attendance, Maine and other states across the nation have experienced a lot of issues with chronic absenteeism. We're showing improvement. Our average daily attendance has rebounded close to pre-pandemic levels, approximately 90%. And that reflects renewed student engagement and effective outreach to families. And our folks have worked really, really hard to do outreach. Graduation, our graduation rates and course completion indicators show steady improvement. We were at 89% last year. I hope to be in the 90% bracket again. I fully believe we can get there. The groups in which we do further data analysis for equity include economically disadvantaged and special education populations. Both those populations are performing at or above state averages in several areas in both math and literacy, with literacy seeing the greatest increases. We just had a program review from the DOE of our whole special education department, all our programs and processes, 90th percentile and above in every single metric, which I can tell you doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. I've worked in 2 other school districts. I've never seen a program review come back that good. And it's because of our teaching staff. We've got a great special education director, Janet Cochran, as well. School climate, our discipline rates have dropped substantially over a 2-year period. Our behavior referrals at the high school are like a quarter what they were 2 years ago. We got our fully staffed student services department. There's one of them right there, which is helping. Our administrators are a very effective team. We've got an SRO program at the high school. That's going quite well. Middle school, same thing. Our out of school suspension rates have dropped significantly, and we provide proactive behavioral supports, restorative practices rather than punitive approaches. We do climate surveys, not just a one-time snapshot, but every single year. They're showing a improving trend. Federal grants and other partnerships, we've done a lot with federal grants. Our assistant superintendent Stephanie Tribo is fantastic at writing grants. She has brought in literally millions of dollars over the past several years for the district. We recently got a congressionally directed spending grant of $1.2 million to improve our auditorium at Oceanside High School. We're actively working on fundraising to raise the other half of the needed amount to do that work. These grants have also funded alternative ed programming, behavioral support training, community liaison roles, and after-school enrichment programs. We've had partnerships with local law enforcement, health organizations, community agencies, and developed a youth diversion program, which has been really effective at reducing the recidivism rate for our youth committing crimes and other misdeeds in the greater Rockland and Thomaston area. And we have increased access to health and social services resources without additional local tax burden. Now, all of our data is easily accessible. If you go to our website and pull down the curriculum tab, it's all right there. And if there's something that you want to see, you're interested in, you give us a call, and I will have Dr. Tribo, who loves to talk about curriculum and assessment and student progress, talk to you personally. So that's my spiel. Now we're gonna talk about budget. So that's Kathy come up with.
I didn't realize how many people were gonna be here, but there's about 18 copies there, so.
While the copies are being passed out, do folks have any questions for me about what I talked about? Go ahead.
We haven't done it already, for to include, as much of the, student outcomes, improvements in your program, it goes into our, package, so forth. We'll see that.
In fact, I just got that question.
We have one
yesterday.
conversation.
Right, sure.
Hello? Hello, can we have one conversation, please? Doug?
It's safe, yeah.
Hey, one at a time. John McDonald has the floor.
If you have a question, I'll answer it, but when it goes to, somebody talking, I can't hear anything.
Thank you again for having us here tonight. I wanted to start off by telling you that the proposed budget continues to maintain the high quality of pre-K through 12 education while minimizing the tax impact on the towns. We started off the budget process at the end of October. Very well aware of what the tax increases have gone for all the local towns that comprise RSU 13. So our focus was to try and keep that as low as possible, the tax impact on the towns. Our next big events are after this meeting. May 6th is the public vote at Oceanside High School, 6 p.m. where you will vote on that budget. And then June 9th is the budget validation vote when you have election day. So please come to vote. And there's another presentation there. There'll be plenty of room for questions and we'll go through the warrants. I'm sure all of you have been there before, so that's the process there. RSU 13 currently serves approximately 1,450 students. 17,300 citizens comprise the district right now. Of that 17,300 citizens in the district, 449 are RSU 13 employees, of which 11% reside in South Thomaston. This budget, salaries and benefits account for 87% of our budget. So while continuing to face the rising costs in areas such as negotiated salaries and benefits, RSU 13 leadership has worked to find budget reductions that do not diminish student experience or learning outcomes. We wanted to preserve the strength of RSU 13's instructional programs and student services while keeping the budget increase as close to a 0% increase as we could. This budget brings the district to a 0.74% increase. So it's pretty much flat. This which demonstrates the meaningful fiscal responsibility without compromising what students receive in the classroom. Last year, the budget increase was 5.23. There's a whole history of the last 5 years there for you. So this is 0.74% again from last year. To understand the significance of a flat budget, it's important to recognize that this current year budget that we're working with, which is approximately $41.1 million, is already tight. Over 85% of this year's budget is comprised of salaries and benefits. All budget reductions require careful and thoughtful choices. Proposed budget total reflects an increase of $305,517. This budget is not an expansion budget. This budget is a stabilization budget, as John mentioned earlier, that prioritizes continuity for students and staff with a minimal impact on taxpayers. We made some difficult decisions while we were making this budget to make sure that it achieves our goals. To achieve this flat budget, and John can go into this in more detail, we made targeted adjustments to non-instructional areas such as supplies, contracted services, and large-scale projects. For example, in our facilities budget, in the past, we've had, big projects that include a roof replacement, and that whole piece of that roof replacement will be in that budget. This year, what we decided to do was put it in reserve accounts. We're doing it over a 3-year phase, so that impact of a $225,000 roof doesn't hit the taxpayer all at once. In Article 1, which is the regular instruction, which is our largest percentage of salaries and benefits, due to lower enrollment in the pre-K and kindergarten class, we've reduced staffing by 2 teaching positions at the elementary level. At the high school level, staffing decreased by 1.5 instructional positions and 1 general education ed tech. Additionally, 1 retiring teacher will not be replaced.
And the board really set out a goal for us to have universal pre-K, and then we achieved that. And then wouldn't you know it, our enrollment goes down. So at Cushing, we had 2 pre-K students enrolled, but we've combined them with a kindergarten in Cushing, which is still great. In Thompson 7, where we had a class of 16 the previous year, but that gives you some kind of indication about what's going on with enrollment. And it's not just us, it's all over the state. We're following that same trend. We're making some smart reductions and efficiencies along the way to try to become right size in terms of that declining enrollment.
And Maine is the oldest state in the nation, and Knox County is the oldest county in the state of Maine.
And every time you say that, it makes me feel so old.
In facilities maintenance, like I mentioned before, we're doing more of a 3 to 10 year plan, which includes putting reserve accounts up so that we can keep our facilities at the high grade they are. We're completing the Siemens project that you all were aware of over the last 2 years, and that gives boiler replacements, that gives generators for each of the schools, and a lot of building envelope and lighting repairs that will bring the cost of electricity and utilities down. With that, we reviewed facilities budget, and we were able to reduce the elimination of 1 maintenance position, so we're going from 3 to 2. And a custodial position at the high school that hasn't been filled for over a year is not being filled. We also reduced 1 full-time position at Cushing that was assigned to that preschool building at the town office into a half-time position because the kids are moving over to the main building. In the administrative area, we made a reduction of about a 3rd position in special education administration to help offset some of the costs. So what this budget does, it maintains appropriate class sizes. It continues the strong instructional programs, maintains our special education services. And I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but in order to receive the over $500,000 that we get in grant funds called local entitlement for special education services, you have to maintain the same budget you have or better. It's called maintenance of effort. And the grant funds are not used to replace the funds that are in the local budget. They're used to help with unexpected expenses. For example, if a child comes into the district that has a high need, that expense isn't in your local budget. So the grant funds are used to offset that. If they need to be out of district placement, which goes anywhere from 120 to 200,000 per student, those funds are used to help offset that if we're not aware of those students yet. So that's not it for me.
Well,
Is there any other questions except for this?
big picture, so revised state funding formula for public education is going through. we've looked at it, we've actually gone to a conference together and looked at simulations. The good news is it looks like we might receive probably 120 to 170,000 extra. We won't really know that until the formula takes hold, and it takes a while to adjust. But there is a hold harmless clause for 3 years, so we won't receive any less subsidy, so that's good news, and it does include an economic factor too, so ability for citizens to pay is kind of factored into the new formula, which is a good thing.
In July, we're gonna be getting about $92,000 extra subsidy that we had not planned for due to the economically disadvantaged numbers that this district is representing. Yeah, so that'll be a nice little bit of extra money. And that's going to go for the tax impact on your town. The town of South Thomaston, the increase will be 8.37%. That is, Thomaston is at 11.53, Rockland is at 8.31, Owl's Head is at 4.07, and Cushing is at 91.14. That's largely due to the fact of enrollment going down, and the subsidy increase that the state gave us is only $80,000 more than we got last year. So that's why that impact. So the 0.74, had we gone up above even 1%, the tax impact would have been considerably larger. Does anyone have questions?
What, what problems are you anticipating from the bus incident? With the.
Oh, the bus incident?
The bus with the fatality of the student insurance wise and or.
There is no impact on the insurance piece yet, because if we belong to a trust. So the trust is developed so that it impacts all of the districts at once, so we don't have a significant increase on our amount, yeah. And our bus garage is a group of amazing employees who have been there for the kids, as you all know. And they are, we had a breakfast for them this morning that John and Stephanie attended, as bus driver appreciation, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question on that Schwartz incident. What have you guys done to look into that? Was there disciplinary actions that were taking place? Because we've heard multiple stories about this bus driver over the years.
I'm not gonna speak to a personnel issue at all. I will say that we've reviewed all of our policies, our training, our processes with the NTSB for one.
And the MDOT.
And I think there's always room for improvement, but I'm not gonna speak to an individual.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
We'll follow up with that later.
Anybody else? Any other questions?
Let's take a couple quick things.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Ryan.
So, it's a big group here, so maybe not all of you know me, I'm Brad Tway. I'm your school board representative. I'm also the vice chair of the school board right now. I'm on the student engagement task force, and the committee that I chair. I'm on the committee for curriculum and technology. I'm also on the negotiation committee, and I'm on the RSU 15 rep for the Mid-Coast School Technology, so it keeps me pretty busy. I'm also, as it turns out, I'm the senior person on the school board right now, so I've had the longest history of any member of the school board. And I can just say that I'm really proud of the work we've done and the progress we made during my tenure on the school board. John highlighted many of the things that we've accomplished. And I feel like there's a great staff, a great group of people working really hard behind the scenes for education, for public education in that area. That's not to say we can improve. We are always looking for improvement. We're always looking to get better. And that's, I think, a sentiment shared by every member of the school board. We always want to do better for our students and for our community. And that's what we're doing this fall and work forward. I just wanted to put a face to the name. I'm accessible. You can find my email on the RSU 13's website. If you'd like to contact me anytime, I'll try to get back to you every day. And I want to thank you for supporting our schools and our region and everything we try to do for our community through RSU 13.
And here we are. Hey, the RSU 13 website does have a copy of the budget in detail, all 88 pages of it, and the warrant articles that are going to be read to you on May 6th. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other questions before you lose them? Okay. Thank you guys for coming down.
We'll see you next year.
Yeah. 1 year we won't.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Sorry, I do that all the time. Okay. The next item, we're gonna jump back to old business.
And John, can I pull that sheet down a little bit? I did for you.
Yeah.
Maybe the-
No, I see it's on everything. but-
That's fine.
Wow.
War.
You could roll over.
Boy, take it off. Keep going.
All right, all
Open the window.
right, there's a couple of seats up here if you guys wanna sit. No, okay. All right, so, gonna take up, consider a request to appoint a harbor master. We have been requested to appoint a harbor master. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to do that tonight, because we need to decide whether we want to create that position and recruit someone for that position. But I just wanted to start off by saying, I know there's some emotions around this. So if we could just be, any questions or comments, if you can direct them to us and not get into talking to each other in the audience back and forth, that would be appreciated. We hashed this around at the last meeting. And there was I made a motion to create a harbor master position. It died for lack of a second. Since then, we've got another request in to create a harbor master position, and under the law, the way I read it, if we get a request, we have to create a position. But I know Jeff and Sue didn't necessarily share that interpretation. So we hashed it around pretty good, so I don't think we personally need to replow that field twice again. But there is some new information from my understanding, and I'll let representatives from the co-op and the Atwood speak to it. My understanding is the boat, the Blackjack, I guess it's called, has been moved. There was a negotiation session between Atwood and the co-op a couple of weeks ago. I don't have the exact date, which was productive and cordial, but didn't result in any progress, for lack of a better word. And then I've learned since then that there's some informal negotiations, I guess is the way to term it, that are still ongoing. So those are the only updates, the information that I have. I don't, do you two have anything? Okay. So I would ask at this point, if one representative from Atwood and one representative from the co-op would speak and either verify what I just said or deny or refute what I just said, and give us a little update from your perspective. And I'd like, I don't think this, are you representing, excuse me? Are you representing? whom?
I'm representing Atwood.
Okay, do you want to start?
I'd be happy to talk. Thank you. My name is Tom Fagerly. I've been working with Travis and Corey, trying to understand this situation over the past couple of months. And yes, what you just reported is accurate, to the credit of both businesses. They're talking amongst themselves, trying to get beyond, throwing, darts at each other. And I think there's been meaningful progress there, and we have reached agreements to essentially drop the temperature and give everybody time and space to now try and solve for the issues that have surfaced. I can't promise you standing here tonight that we'll solve it in the next week or two, but we've effectively agreed to press pause on the litigation that's pending, press pause on the appeal that's pending from the co-op in front of the Board of Environmental Protection, and to move the Jack Black. It's been off off of the wharf space since I think Thursday of last week. And we've all agreed to a period of 60 days where it will stay off the wharf in exchange for that period of time to try and solve the issues that have surfaced between the co-op and Atwoods. I think it's important to say that these are two great businesses that do multi-million dollars of revenue every year. They've coexisted next to each other for 55 years or so. That all leads me to think there's a solution to be had here. And again, credit to Patrick Meller, if he's here, I've been working with him and to the co-op in getting to this point where at least we're now trying to solve this in a way that can work for both and hopefully to the benefit of both. I apologize, I've not attended any of your discussions to date. I have watched the video. And my takeaway was there was a desire that temperatures get lowered. And we try and get rational about solving these problems. To the extent you're considering appointing a harbor master under the notion that there's an emergency to do so because of the Jack Black being at the wharf, that emergency's been removed, at least for 60 days. So I think it also buys you some time to deliberate this issue and think about why the town may or may not want a harbor master. I will say to finish that Atwoods has a submerged lands lease for the land under the water right in front of its wharf that gives them a property interest in that area that specifically authorizes them to berth a boat there. So our position remains that if you had a harbor master, you'd be asking that poor person to come and try and take away a property right that I don't think they have the authority to do. You don't have to agree with us on that, and I hope we don't ever have to have that conversation because we're gonna try and solve for this. So that's our update, and I'll be here through the night and happy to answer questions.
Okay, so someone who wants to speak on behalf of the co-op?
Hi, I'm Patrick Miller on behalf of the co-op.
Hi, Patrick.
Just about the first, half of what Tom said, I agree completely with, which is we are turning down the temperature. We have agreed to that for that 60-day time frame. The litigation will be stayed and the Bureau of Environmental Protection proceedings will be stayed as well. This issue with regard to the harbor master, it does give you a little bit of an opportunity to deliberate in terms of what's the best way to appoint a harbor master, and if in fact that's, you are one of the, South Thomaston is one of the few coastal communities that doesn't have a harbor master. And of course, the concern would be that at the end of 60 days, we're right back to coming in front of you again. So I don't think putting off the decision with regard to a harbor master is prudent. But I understand and I agree with Tom. I'm hopeful that these two businesses can come to a resolution during that time frame. But if not, the town should be prepared to move forward with a harbor master. And Tom and I disagree as to whether or not the lease that's in place prevents a harbor master. A harbor master can absolutely make decisions with regard to navigation and it's in the town's harbor. Additionally, that current lease that Tom was referencing, there's a paragraph in it that states that if there's a modification or alteration to those leased premises, then that lease is up for review and scrutiny again by the Bureau of Submerged Lands. And that's reinforced by the Submerged Lands rules as well as state statute. When a NERPA application has been submitted, it opens up that lease for scrutiny and review. New conditions that have to do with navigation, which is what this issue is, access and fisheries is opened anew. So hopefully we don't get there, but that's the one point we disagree on, and I appreciate time here to answer your questions. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to take a couple of moments and just have the three of us talk, and then I'll open it up to general comments, as long as they're brief. I'll just tell you where I'm at. I kind of agree with Patrick. I mean, this is not gonna happen in 5 minutes. If we create the position, I think it's gonna be difficult to find someone who's qualified But more importantly, I read the statute as mandatory, not permissive there. If someone asks us to appoint a harbor master, we have to, well, that's my interpretation. Yeah,
What it says,
well, hang on, then I'll let you do yours and yours, so that's where I'm coming from, that's where I was last. 2 weeks ago, that's where I'm still at. So I would just personally like to move ahead, and we're not actually appointing anyone tonight, we don't have anyone to appoint. But, so that's where I'm coming from, so Jeff?
yeah, I do not read it as if somebody comes and says we want a harbor master, that we have to do a harbor master. The way the law reads is if somebody comes and complains about moorings, then we are obligated to appoint a harbor master. And everybody except for one person that I kind of forced to say the words hasn't mentioned moorings, they've mentioned a boat. So I don't feel we are obliged to hire a harbor master unless somebody out there is honestly saying they want a harbor master to take care of mooring issues. Is there anybody willing to say that?
I would like to say just one short thing about this. I agree with you, Jeff, and thank you for bringing that up, because if you're using a harbor master to solve this issue that the co-op and Atlas has, and you're just setting yourself up with failure for the harbor master. He's gonna quit. Nobody wants to enter into a fight this way, because harbor masters are about boats and spacing moorings.
Well, the harbor master, one conclusion the harbor master could come up with is the town has no authority in this particular fight, so to speak, for lack of a better word. But Patrick, you wanted to?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, well, actually, let me see if Sue, do you have any?
No,
comments at this
my
point?
thoughts were right along the same line as Jeff, and if we did decide that we needed to have a harbor master, then we'd have to have policies for them to follow. And you'd have to have a committee to do that, and it will take time.
Yeah.
And that committee should involve the people that are affected by it.
I agree with that, yeah. Patrick?
Thank you. Just gonna read the statute, just for, I mean, it states, the municipal officers of a town.
Which is us.
Sorry,
Which is us.
right, that borders or contains territorial waters on request by any person desiring mooring privileges or regulation of mooring privileges for boats or vessels shall appoint a harbor master. So the co-op has, yes, there is something that was pressing, but the co-op, and I've submitted this request to your town attorney, and I know that she indicated she passed it along. Under Title 38, Section 1, we've submitted that request. It says shall, and I've submitted that request on behalf of the co-op.
What's the read the condition again? Of what the person is saying that
Any
prompts it.
person is also an entity desiring mooring privileges or regulation of mooring privileges for boats or vessels shall appoint a harbor
Okay.
master.
Nobody has said that to us.
I'm saying that. That's my client has asked me to submit that request, and that's what I did back a week ago.
But that's not a person.
Excuse me.
So a business can request that?
Well,
Yeah.
it's an entity. I don't have an issue with that. As long as somebody is willing to say they want us to hire a harbor master to manage moorings. That's what I need.
Well,
That's an expensive proposition.
And to
It's
do
super
all.
expensive.
Hold on.
Yeah, as you know, I mean, I've spoken with the Maine Association of Harbor Masters, I've spoken with the director of Bureau of Submerged Lands. Is the one who indicated that this is an issue for harbor masters. So like, there are other issues that harbor masters can address, but that is what I am saying on the record for the third time. Yes, I am submitting this request on behalf of the co-op. Desiring mooring privileges or regulation of mooring privileges for boats or vessels.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I have to beg to differ with you, Jeff. The original letter that I got from the Jared Bray, is that the right name? Yeah, spoke about mooring issues.
But he did that. He did that after Jeff said that was.
No.
Yes, he did.
No.
Yes, he did. No, that letter came after that. And he said,
No,
and he
no,
said
that
it right
letter-
here in that meeting, he said, I'm gonna say I want it from Warren.
No, the letter came before, that's what got it on the agenda to begin with. But anyway.
I don't think so.
Okay, all right. So,
I didn't see it until this last.
Dougie, you
packet
have
came out.
What's the complaint about a mooring then? Who's complaining about a mooring? Cause he just said it's for complaints of moorings. Was,
all
yeah,
right, I think, but
what's that got to do with that wood?
to us. Please, everybody address us, not back and forth. Yeah, I don't know, but we can go back to that original letter, but that was before we talked about it, this agenda. Well, his letter specifically spoke to moorings. But that aside, I think, personally, I think the boat being in the way is sort of a mooring issue. I think I'm looking at it more broadly, the way it's defined. But, hold on.
Back
here.
when I was younger, that was always baited up, right where the jet line. There was never an issue. I mean, granted, the boats have raised the size, but there was never a boundary line.
Yeah.
So it's always been a pain in the ass to back up on a boat up underneath the boat. It really has. The fact that town getting involved in that, it's gonna cost us all money. Because they're all in an argument.
Hold
You're
on.
gonna draw us into it.
Hold on, the town has not been involved. Okay,
We're all here.
we let,
You
we
just
let,
said you want a harbor master.
the town has not made, and the board of selectmen has not made any decision. As I said, at the last meeting, there was a motion to create the position of harbor master, and it died for lack of a second. So the town has not stepped into anything yet. We're responding to a request from a citizen, who, several requests now, I think 3 or 4, who have asked us to appoint a harbor master, and the statute to me is clear. But I'm only one. Go ahead.
Alright, so where the giant flag was tied up, I see it on video, we all see it on the news, I see it at the dog. They did not go over their boundary line.
I don't know.
Well,
that.
that boat did not go on to co-op property.
We don't know that. That's why, in my mind, a harbor master could investigate that. There's a lot to be
No,
investigated.
that's not gonna help.
So, yes, it might. Okay,
One last question.
go ahead.
Obviously, against the harbor master here, I'm against the town spending any money it doesn't need to, we haven't done a harbor master ever. We are one of the few towns that doesn't, it's always worked, we haven't spent the money, why are we spending it now?
Well, we're not.
Good.
Yeah.
You bet, keep it that way.
Well, yeah, and just to be clear about my position, I've always thought that being the only town in Maine without a harbor master, even towns that don't have harbors have harbor masters. And I have always thought we should have a harbor master.
You have both?
The only issue I have is whether or not we were obliged to appoint a harbor master.
It doesn't sound like that.
It does now. He's the one person.
Do you want to raise your hand to be recognized, please? We're not gonna get into an argument back and forth here.
So,
Okay, we got a hand over here. Are you done, Jeff?
no,
Okay.
he just stood up and said he would like us to appoint a harbor master because of moorings, period. That makes it an obligation. We no longer can say we're not gonna do it. We now have to appoint a harbor master.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Doug had his hand up?
I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, we're not the only town that does not have a harbor master in the state of Maine. Can you prove that we are the only town without?
No, I can just tell you what I was told, so I don't know that for sure.
So this whole mooring thing, yeah, Kip has trouble with the mooring down there. But this isn't why the request for a harbor master came about. Kip didn't give it, Jared did. Right?
The initial.
It's Skip's mooring, but Jared gave the request for a harbor master. So is that really why we're looking for a harbor master?
According to him, it is.
But he's saying,
And that's
their
all I
lawyer
need.
is saying it's for moorings,
Right.
right? So what's that have to do with a land dispute over a property line?
All that does is say we are required to do it. That's what those words mean.
It's
What the individual does is not being debated.
I understand what you're saying, he may have no relevance in dealing with this problem. But what that's gonna do is we're gonna get a harbor master, and then he's gonna need something to do, so he's gonna go down there and say, oh. Every one of these moorings is $250 a year, just like St. George just put a bulletin out. You don't have your mooring fees paid by May 1st, they're doubling. If you don't pay them when they're double, then we come take your mooring.
Well, that's.
So this is what we get into when we get into having a harbor master, and a harbor, never had a harbor master.
You made a huge leap.
Yeah.
No, I'm just telling you.
You made a huge leap to what a harbor master is gonna do here.
That's what he's
because
gonna do.
We don't know that.
Yes, we do.
He has to have he or she has to have an ordinance and a committee to guide what that individual does.
If you
And
can
if-
guarantee
and-
me that,
Doug,
he will
Doug.
not.
He's speaking.
I can't guarantee that.
Exactly.
All right, this is.
Get on the
both
committee to write
speculate.
ordinances.
Back here,
We're going back to the ones you had. Every one of these captains is paid for that raw, team, everything, the pennies, do that. You wanna have a mess to come take that from them?
I didn't say that.
I mean.
What are you talking
That's what
about?
happened.
Nobody said anything close to this.
That's what's gonna happen.
Oh, you can see the future?
Well, I think what they
It's
see
easy.
is that in other towns, that's what's happened. They've said you have to have this certain ball or pennant, whatever, and they make them line up in a certain way, and it costs them more money, and then they charge them whatever,
I understand that.
you know.
Here's the left of Dougie.
Yeah, I have 5 moorings in Rockland. We have a harbor master. We're required to have them inspected by certified rock, and it's expensive. You have to have them inspected, certified, and whether it needs it or not, they put the training on, whatever it needs. And we have to register them every year. If you don't keep up with it, they'll deny your rights to have that mooring.
Yeah, over here.
If this moves to a harbor master, which you're saying is required now because of the request for moorings, is there the opportunity to have a subcommittee made up by fishermen from each entity, you know, from the Gig River, you know, Atwoods people, you know, co-op people up above us, you know, the post Chris Young's area, those.
St. George.
Yeah, St. George. And it's a group of 5 that represent.
In Rockland, we have a harbor committee.
To help guide that policies that you're gonna enact to the harbor master. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, that's what she and I just said, is that before we have a harbor master doing any harbor master duties, we need to have an ordinance that tells them what their duties are, and we need to have a committee that is helping to decide what those duties are, and then to help manage the harbor master.
Well, the harbor master can enforce the state's statutes,
Yeah.
absent an ordinance.
But as far as fees and stuff,
Yeah, but
could be
that
decided-
doesn't
help guided,
be.
you know, if that's the worry.
Yeah.
Because as of right now, the issues that have gone forward, there's no one that can make the call to have enforced. We don't have anybody to go to, you know, all the agencies have been contacted, you know, and there's not a person that makes the rules, so.
But personally, I think that the Army Corps of Engineers has an obligation to enforce that, and they have failed to do that. Matter of fact, they've chosen to not do it. And I think that it is clearly their responsibility.
You're talking about moorings?
I'm talking about the boat.
Okay. Oh, I wasn't clear.
We all get on the same page? I'll let you count up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Jeff, last time I was at this meeting, you spoke of someone building a shed on your property line. And there being no shed master, if it was too close to the property line to come and. Say whether it is or it isn't, right? Okay, so this property line between the co-op and Atwoods is like, say I was turning around in my neighbor's driveway, we already had. Agreement that it was fine, and then they built the shed there. And I can't turn around there anymore. Am I supposed to come to you guys
No.
and have you hire somebody
No.
to tell
You go
them
to
that
a
they have to
lawyer, you go
move
to a
that
lawyer.
shit?
You go to a lawyer, that's a civil issue between
Right,
two
but-
parties.
So this is where this has gone, that's where we're at, and so the co-op. Could have seen this coming. And they do have enough shoreline now, because they have bought an extra piece of property to have adjusted. But it's like come out of nowhere,
and we're gonna hire a harbor master because of a conflict between them.
Just to be clear, I don't wanna hire a harbor master just to take care of that problem. I'm obliged to hire a harbor master because he said he wants somebody to take care of the moorings. That's what the law says, that's what obligates us. Now, if we're gonna appoint, and we are required to appoint them for a minimum of 1 year. And if we're gonna appoint somebody for 1 year without town approval for paying them, or a written ordinance, or a committee to back it up, then what I am gonna say is, I'm gonna pay that individual on a per diem basis to do the things that we think he needs to do. Number one, to write an ordinance get a committee together and write an ordinance. That's the first task I'm gonna give you. I'm not gonna say, go down, fix that boat thing.
Yeah, see, I don't share that opinion, yeah, but, Doug,
I don't know how long ago it was, Billy Atwood brought the same meeting to this room over here, and I went to it, Skip went to it, I don't know if David was there, because one of David's kids moorings was out front of his house. He wanted it removed, so he could sell his house with a mooring there. This was 15-20 years ago, we met over on the other side over there. And I spoke against the harbor master then for the same reasons I am now, was because we have a hellhole for harbor down there. And we can say ordinances, but there's state regulations with swivels and all this bullshit. Look at the Hamilton Marine Catalog, how to rig a mooring. That's what they do. That's what they want us to do. That's why I'm up here speaking against. If we don't have an ordinance and all this, but. It just, we got a bad place down there. We know how to rig out moorings. I got 12 moorings in the harbor. And we're gonna levy fees on them. It's gonna cost me a lot of money to keep them. I've been looking out for my future, for my family, buying up moorings for people that are retiring and stuff. And now we're gonna have a harbor master, never had one in 100 years of that harbor. And if it's for moorings, that's one thing, but if it's for some other odd reason, then, you know. And at that time, Barbara Black was there, you can't take money out of excise tax to pay this harbor master, because unless the ordinance is changed, she told me to take any money out of that account, if you're thinking about using the boat excise, your surplus to pay a harbor master, takes an ordinance change. And that can only be used for town land, which we have no town land in this Bruce Head. We have no public access down there for a harbor master to be dictating anything down there. So that money that you think you might hire a harbor master with, you might wanna check into that ordinance. Cause she told me that money could only be used for town landing only.
I don't think that's accurate, but.
Well, that's what she told me.
Yeah, I'm not doubting.
15 years ago, 20 years ago.
I'm not doubting she told you that, I just don't think that's accurate. I think it's accurate if she told you, but, okay, have we kicked this?
Can I just say one last thing? I feel like you're missing the opportunity that the hard work between the co-op and Atwoods over the last couple of weeks is presenting to this, which is a little bit of time. If you think that statute handcuffs you, and because Patrick got up and said, even though we all know this is really about the boat, we are now saying it's about moorings. You guys can think about that. And the statute doesn't say you have to act tonight. It doesn't say when you have to act. It says a request has come in. You ought to consider how serious that request is, or if it's really motivated by something else that, oh, by the way, we're trying our darndest to solve, and we've got a little bit of time now to solve. So you've got some time. I don't know why you would rush into this when you're hearing all the comments that you're hearing. I don't think you have to, especially in light of the way the request has come to you. And I mean that as no disrespect to Patrick. I just mean, I think we all know what's really driving this, and that is something that you ought not get into, because you're all agreeing it's a private dispute. It's a private dispute that I hope is solved. If it isn't, it's one you don't want to get in the middle of. I don't think. I don't know why you would want to. And it's a private dispute that has to get resolved in court. And the co-op is sued Atwood, so we're in court. As part of being in court, you're obligated to mediate. Now, that mediation, if Patrick and I weren't talking to each other, would be several months from now. But because we're talking to each other, because co-op members are talking to Atwood members, or, officers. We've front loaded that. And we're doing it at Patrick's suggestion with a really good former Superior Court judge who knows how to help get resolution of problems like this. So all we're asking is give us that opportunity. And in exchange, it's giving you an opportunity to be a little more deliberate and maybe you form the ordinance committee before you commit to it and even think about, do we want this? And I think you're hearing a lot of arguments tonight that maybe you don't want it. So you've got some time to think about it. So I'm gonna urge you, don't act tonight because there's no reason to act tonight.
Patrick, did you wanna
Thank you.
rebut that?
I mean, a lot of what Tom said, I agree with, however. For the very reason that we are coming together, we are talking, if we're not successful. You will already have at least started the process, which is mandatory by statute. And if we're successful, I mean, the co-op. Potentially, could withdraw the request, but that's something that remains to be seen. Maybe, I'm not committing anyone to anything, I'm just saying that's a possibility as well, but we're not the only ones who have requested this. But we have requested it pursuant to statute, and I do think it's obligatory, for the select men and women to, begin the process, to agree that a harbor master will be appointed and move that forward. And during the time of 60 days, hopefully we come together with a resolution.
Thank you. Anybody else, last comment?
So there's never been a harbor master and no one wants a harbor master. And the only reason this is brought up here is because of two companies disagreeing. I was gonna use it as a weapon.
Yeah, I wouldn't say no one wants a harbor master.
It's never been brought up ever.
That's
Oh,
not true.
no, it's been brought up.
At least 3 times since I've been here.
Not in Spruce Head Harbor.
Yes, it has.
Yes, it has.
Yes, it has.
Maybe in the Big River, but
No,
not.
no, Spruce has, at least 3 times. People,
They pay up for the morning.
so hold on a second, but I do disagree with your statement. There are people who have told me they may not be here, or they may not want to speak tonight. But there are people who have told me outright, the time has come, we need a harbor master. To the left,
Yeah, he started to say why he wanted to have the master, I was just wondering, he never got to it.
what's that?
The one in the middle started to say why he wanted to have it, master, but they never got to why he wanted to have it.
I don't. Oh, you?
Yeah. I've always thought we should have one because several people, I won't say everybody, several people have mentioned that they wished we had a harbor master. So that's all I can do is base it on what other people have said.
When I said, give like a stipend position, and then they neglected all responsibility on their moorings. When something happened, I'm speaking from a sailboat that ended up on my front lawn, off one of their moorings.
Okay. But,
No?
well, no, actually, you were first, I'm sorry. to the
Okay,
right.
so, if this issue gets resolved. And the co-op withdraws their request for a harbor master. Will we still have one appointed through this process
Well,
tonight? Sounds like if because Jeff is saying that we have to. If they withdraw, does that all go away?
well, the co-op isn't, in my mind, who requested this. The first request came from Jared. And he wasn't representing himself as representing the co-op, if I recall correctly. So, and then we got a request from, a verbal request from David. And I guess I would assume, since he's the president of the co-op, that he was representing the co-op, but that might be an assumption on my part.
I guess I misunderstood because Jeff said that because Pat requested it, and it has to be there.
That's what made me agree that we are obligated, we do not have a choice. We are obligated to at least research appointing a harbor master for up to 1 year, or for at least 1 year.
But if they withdraw, or
If nobody comes to us or says, I take it back, I don't want a harbor master for moorings, then it takes away the requirement. That doesn't mean that we can't press ahead and do an ordinance and get a committee. So that if this ever comes up again, we're at least primed for it.
Wasn't there a request from?
Hang on, I got one here.
At last, I've been raising my hand over.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Thank you, John.
The polite ones never get.
It may be true. It may be true what you say about the necessity for a harbor master. But it is hugely long overdue and maybe too late. And now you have to look at the social and economic impact of what a harbor master is gonna do. It's going to mess up the harbor even worse because we do not have a breakwater. It's gonna push boats farther and farther and farther out into the harbor. And you people don't understand like that. You don't understand what it's gonna cost the fishermen, what it's gonna cost the town. You're going into it blind.
So that's why we need an expert, a harbor master.
Yeah, the harbor masters aren't necessarily expert if they're just going by the laws. What we need in Spruce Head is a breakwater. That's what we need. Don't roll your eyes.
No, I'm just saying,
That's absolutely what we need.
I don't doubt it.
Prior to a harbor master, because we need a place to house our fishermen and their families. Because the families are affected by a harbor master. You have a boat that's now out another 300 or 400 feet further out so we can get better spacing. That's just not practical. It's just not practical. It could turn into a mess and it could be this revisited every year.
Doug?
We were approved for a breakwater, believe it or not. It never got followed through, but it was only to serve a small amount of boats over in front of McClone. But I talked to an Army Corps guy at the Fisherman's Forum one year. I don't keep track of time. In the last 10 years, I talked to an Army Corps and I told him where I lived and he said, "Oh, Spruce Head, you guys were approved for a breakwater." I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, but they never followed through with it. Colin Granson and Woody Pope, they had a little breakwater. And the Army Corps approved it, but it never got put any further. Maybe if the town, if you wanna spend some of that boat excise tax money on top besides bronze piling caps down the gig landing here, maybe we could do something to help the harbor."
Okay, any other final comments? I think we've kicked this to death, haven't we? So is there a motion?
I'd make a motion that we research and search for either a lawyer or a qualified harbor master to work with a committee to be created at a later date to draft a town ordinance, a harbor master ordinance.
Is there a second? I'm not gonna second that motion. Okay. I'll make another motion, much simpler. I'll make a motion that we create the position of a harbor master and initiate a search.
I'll second that.
Discussion, Sue?
No.
Huh? No? Yeah? Okay.
Just to be sure though, just to make sure you understand, as soon as we get somebody in that position, that's what I'm gonna ask them to do first.
I understand.
Before they do anything else.
I understand.
Yeah.
So, Dougie, go ahead, one last time.
If you wanna pass that motion, you should have something there that says we have to form a committee to guide that guy, because he's gonna come in here with his state mandate and do just what Jeff said. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
He's gonna start passing that morning, tell us we gotta have a swivel and a ball with a white stripe on it. It's the mandatory mooring setup for harbors. And I'm not gonna do it to my mooring, so you'll be lugging me to jail, I guess, 'cause I ain't rigging a mooring that way. That's why I'm here.
Well, you to the town office or pitchfork
Hey.
and solve that.
Hey,
But I'm just saying that we need to have some kind of a committee to guide this guy, because he's gonna come in here with the state mandates, that's what's gonna happen.
yeah.
'Cause there's probably laws on harbor master, they probably got a little harbor master handbook, you know?
Hey, Doug,
And they have a training. They have a training.
All right. Okay,
Won't be regulations either.
we have a motion on the floor that's been moved and seconded. I think I don't feel we need to amend it. I think the consensus is, intent is that we, if we get to ever hiring a harbor master, which I'm hopefully we maybe don't have to if this issue can be settled. We can deal with issues of committees and governance at that point. So
Can you put it in the motion though that? he
I
will
don't
be guided
want,
by
I
a-
don't wanna complicate the motion.
Well, I don't want, what if we uncomplicate it we let the genie out of the bottle, things happen. That's the problem.
Just so you understand, the three people voting on this motion are right here.
I understand that. What, am I yelling or something? Or-
No,
I understand you right here, but like I said, the genie's out of the bottle. You guys vote for harbor master, and he comes in and, like I said, got the harbor master handbook. If you don't have some kind of, he has to go by the people it's gonna affect, guiding him, then where are you gonna be? You're gonna be, he's gonna have the say of what goes on, unless,
Isn't that just what I said? Isn't that exactly what I said?
no, you said you're gonna point a hop, yeah, but that one didn't go, Jeff.
Right?
That's what you said, but that wasn't
And,
how. it
and then
was.
in discussion, I said, my intention is to give that, the first task to that harbor master is gonna be to create.
Then that should be put in the motion.
Doesn't need to be in,
His motion
doesn't
has
need to be in the motion. That doesn't need to be in the
it. All
motion.
right, well,
It's part of the record.
it's being recorded, right? It's being recorded.
we got 7 people talking here.
I got one more question. Where is this so-called harbor master gonna keep his boat? How much are we gonna pay for that boat, Cody?
Go ahead.
Another $5,000 a piece of tax.
You guys-
It's gonna break the white ball of the bush.
Hey, you guys are gonna be kicked out of here in a minute.
Well, we don't need it anyways.
All right, see ya.
Thank you for spending our money.
Yeah.
We're not gonna solve that.
Yeah, thank you.
you.
Go ahead.
How do we make a motion as a committee to hire a harbor? Rather than going right to the harbor master, because you don't know what you're gonna get from one person. If you was to hire a committee or appoint a committee of 4 or 5 people from there and have them hire a harbor.
Well, number one, they can't hire.
Or they can.
They can recommend, right, they can recommend.
That way you can have people who are familiar with.
What I'm trying to do is simply hope that you guys can negotiate this. With the issue with the boat, and then as far as I'm concerned. I'm done with it, I don't care if we have a harbor master or not, that's up to the fishermen.
Nothing to do with it.
That's up to the fishermen as far as I'm concerned, but I don't wanna be in a position where 3 weeks from now or 6 weeks from now. The negotiations fail and we haven't done a thing. That's kind of where I'm coming from, go ahead.
If you hire a harbor master under the pretense of moorings, you can't just haul him out of office or get rid of him when something's settled, because like you were saying earlier, it's state statute or law or whatever to hire a harbor master to do the moorings. And once you've done that, I'm pretty sure you're obligated to keep a harbor master. So before.
For 1 year.
Whether this is resolved or not. So before you go opening that door and hiring a harbor master, you should probably get a committee together first. And then with your committee, you can actually, I think, with time to drag that out. And if things resolve before you hire a harbor master, then just throw in the towel. But the committee going forward would give you the time and the people to look it over, rather than going straight to a harbor.
Go ahead,
I'd
I
say,
thought we were through with this.
I would, I'd table the harbor master saying, unless the lawyers shook it out,
Well, then,
where it's all coming from,
but if that doesn't work,
then
then,
you can get harbor master,
then we've lost all of this time,
you know, we can make up for it.
huh? And the season's coming fast, so.
I've had a lot of
Oh,
I could have 30 seconds, then I'll be done. I'll just say one last thing on behalf of Alfred. I think the suggestion that was just made back here makes all the sense in the world. It seems like you're putting the cart in front of the horse. You're going and hiring somebody to then write an ordinance for you or lead the charge in writing an ordinance. I think you really want to do that other way. I think you wanna form a committee that's figuring out what you're trying to get out of a harbor master and then go hire a harbor master. That's point one. Point two is, if you try and hire a harbor master right now while there's litigation pending between two big businesses, that's just a bad idea. You're not gonna get a good pool of applicants. Nobody's gonna want that job. And they're right not to want it. And to the chairman, you're sort of saying this, we have to do this because it's about moorings, but it's really about the boat. And once the boat's gone and you don't care, all of this is just a poor setup for the town to proceed. What was just suggested makes, from my perspective, a lot more sense. It also seems like a little bit more of a middle ground between the two companies who are fighting, where we're again trying to lower the temperature, not raise the temperature, so that we can all leave. We're talking about potentially talking further tomorrow. Let us keep going. This action feels like it's kind of counter.
There's nothing in this action that prevents you from keep going. In fact, I think we encourage that. Do we not?
Yeah.
Yeah. Patrick, did you wanna?
No, other than like, there's been a motion to create harbor
Yeah.
master. Next second, and I think that the point that's been made by the gentleman in the back about having a committee is not, it's not mutually exclusive. It's part of that process, no matter what. So we encourage the committee, but the motion in the second should move forward, and then the committee will be formed. There'll be people from ours, people from the co-op, other fishermen who are independent, getting on the committee, hopefully, to give their input, and it's part of the process.
Yeah, I don't know that, I know I personally don't have the energy to lead an effort to create a committee, and it's gonna have to come from someone up here, so. I don't know if you do, Jeff.
No, that's why I'm all for having a harbor master.
Yeah, I think that's pretty typical that a staff person would lead that effort, try to put together a committee and guide and work with that committee. Go ahead.
I just wanna ask, is there a model in the state or anywhere in New England where there is, like, especially in a small harbor like Spruce Head, but maybe in bigger harbors, multiple harbor masters in one harbor, or maybe even a committee of harbor masters where they discuss and solve problems between fishermen spacing, ways to approach docks, which I think this is gonna end up being more, what we're talking about is not how an owner of a dock uses his dock, but more how the opening to approach a dock is maintained. Because that's where problems with commerce are interrupted. Those are the more important facets of what a harbor master should be doing. A harbor master shouldn't be entering into a lines dispute between two buildings, because that's for lawyers to do. And how an owner uses his dock is maybe written in law. How an owner can use his dock. So, and that's far more simple. So it shouldn't be that the harbor master, and here we go again, but I'm gonna repeat it. It shouldn't be that the harbor master enters into this. It would be impossible it would be a nightmare for him to say, okay, you go fix that problem. Well, he's not gonna be able to, because it's still gonna end up in court. It's still gonna be a bigger battle. The real job of a harbor master is to support commerce and to make the harbor good for these two businesses.
Right. And I agree with that completely.
Okay.
Just one last thing, yeah, Rockland's going through, we have a harbor committee. I've fished out of Sobol, as my uncle's Bill Atwood, and this co-op, lines disputes been going on for forever. As long as they've been here. But the mooring thing, that we have a harbor master in Rockland, and she's grossly underqualified. Nice kid, whatever, but we're going through a land dispute with the landings marina with Rockland Fish Pier. And it's a nightmare, and trying to get involved in land in line disputes and this and that and moorings and setbacks and all the stuff that's going on with that. If you're gonna create a hornet's nest. I'm just saying, and you got the city of Rock behind that, and they don't want anything to do with it either. And the Army Corps is not stepping in and doing what they're supposed to do either. I mean, it's just, I'm just saying this, and then you talking lawyers and all this and that. But yeah, it's kind of the same thing going on there, but the mooring thing for a town, small fishing village like Spruce Head. To deal with someone to go out and try to police all those moorings and enforce registration, the tackle that you're supposed to have, the setbacks, the spacing. Man, who wants that job? This girl is, and it's a whole different can of worms, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
And just saying.
I don't know where it would go. Right now, I'm kind of focused on the dispute, but go ahead.
You know, I gotta say, I feel an obligation here to represent the Atwood Lobster family of fishery, as I like to call them. And really, it's funny and ironic that the Spruce Head Co-op, which is made up of fishermen, is the one leading this charge to have the harbor, right? I could care less. Like, we have a boat that was parked in there. We're in litigation. We're trying to work through that. But it's really all the harvesters that are in the harbor that are gonna suffer from this. So they supposedly represent fishermen, right? And wanna do what's best for the harvesters. But that's not the case. They're not doing it. They're gonna make everybody else in the harbor suffer. Like,
Well,
that,
I don't think.
and you as the town, right? Are like, you're siding with them 100%.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Yes, you are.
No, we're not. As a matter of fact, the harbor master, hey, hey. Hang on just a second, I'm gonna respond to that.
It's not what's best for everyone,
it
that's what I'm
could-
saying.
I know, but it might be, I don't know what's best for everybody, but I'm looking for fairness and equity.
Oh,
Now,
me too.
Now, this harbor master may come back and say, there's nothing I can do about this or, you know,
So then he's
for all I know.
messing with everybody's moorings.
well, I'm not.
I mean, if you're gonna pay him, he's gotta do something, right?
No, we don't have to pay him. We can say, don't work.
Yeah, none of us were free. Listen, either way, this goes, I'm not really looking forward to it.
You shouldn't say that. Some of us do work for free.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Go ahead, Rob. I don't wanna hear about the West gig.
No, this is not the best thing. Why not? What has not been brought up at all is the excise tax that the out of town boats does not come to our town. So every boat that's out there that's registered in the town, their town gets the excise tax and they get moorings for free.
Yeah, second job on the list for our new harbor master. Don't do this.
So I think we gotta do something, at least get some of the excise tax come to us, since they're using our harbor. And they're getting it for free, where they have to pay a pretty substantial fee in their other harbors. And it doesn't have to be as high, at a high fee or anything, at least something that will come to the town for the use of our facilities.
Okay, thank you.
I think the Spruce Head Co-op should withdraw their request for harbor master.
Bob?
Believe it or not, all the fishermen in this room are friends. We see it differently. When Atwoods put the Jack Black in that berth, he looked for relief. We called Coast Guard, we called Marine Patrol, DMR, Army Corps, Governor's Office, we called anybody, and they all told us, nothing we can do about it, you need a harbor master. So that's why we're here, because we were told that the only people who can deal with this is a harbor master. So we might be able to solve it on our own, we may not, but if not, 60 days from now, you can expect Atwoods is gonna put a boat right back there again. They're the only ones who can explain why they put a boat there. So that's the issue, is there's a boat not there now, but that was there that impeded our ability to get to our dock. If we can't come to some sort of agreement, the assumption is they're gonna put a boat back there to impede our ability to get to our dock that we've done for years and years and years.
You assume.
That's the problem.
Yeah, but I understand, so I'm just trying to find a path forward to untangle this Gordian knot, but did someone else, Dave, was it you or someone had there? All right, that it? We've been at this now for.
I got a
bit.
question.
Go ahead.
I don't have internet in this room, surprisingly. So I tried to search if there's a state of Maine regulation for how a mooring needs to be rigged by a harbor master. So could we clarify how that may be?
What they do in
I mean,
Rockland.
who has the ability to do that?
Yeah, just the internet service out here is very poor.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think that's a level of detail we don't wanna get into tonight, but.
Well, it's gonna affect a harbor master that affects us.
Just because we decide to create this position and search for someone, doesn't mean we're necessarily ever gonna appoint them.
And even if we do, what we appoint them for can be very, very narrow.
Right.
We appoint them for a year and we pay them on a per diem basis to solve ordinance, what's allowed, help a committee get together, and then whatever else falls out of that. Very narrow, doesn't
Okay.
have to be broad.
One more, back here.
I forgot it already.
Oh. You're like me. Okay,
Yeah. They just said it's because of the boat not mooring, then you're saying you want to appoint a harbor master because of a mooring complaint. And there's,
I'm not
that
saying
boat
that.
is not laying on the.
I'm not saying that,
That's,
I'm saying.
so you second Jeff's motion, you seconded it.
Yeah.
No, it's mine, I did not second it. And then I made, it. You need to get your observations scheduled.
Well, I'm just saying, the boat's not on mooring, it's tied to climbing.
I know.
And it's submerged land piece. So,
Which is why I asked for clarification, and I got clarification.
but the boat's not on the mooring.
Doesn't make any difference, not about the boat. It's about an individual who said he would like us to hire a harbor master to solve mooring issues. That doesn't mean that's what we're gonna do with them, but that means we are now obligated by law to hire one. And we've already had a lawyer send us a note saying, you do not get the option not to do it. So
That's the first time I've heard that tonight.
Yeah. there we go.
You never said
Why
that.
don't we have a meeting?
Well, we've tried to say that the statute is mandatory, not permissive. I said that way back 5 minutes of the open. So, okay, all right, we've killed this. All right, so further discussion up here, all those in favor? Sue? Opposed? Okay, thank you, guys. We did not appoint a hazmat, please don't walk out of here thinking that.
there's no signature.
I'll still.
If there was.
Good luck, negotiating.
But you know. You hire a harbor master.
Tom, thank you for coming down.
How do they?
Thank you.
You can handle that.
Thank you for, I don't know if you wanna be kind or not.
Thanks for all your input.
I've been in that habit since I was a little
Oh,
kid.
I appreciate it, and if we ever start a harbor committee, I expect you to be the chair.
I fought for half mast my whole life. Kinda ironic, cause the last time we fought, Billy wanted to have mast and we fought again, but now it's the other way around.
So look it up and see if there are like multiple harbor masters in the park. Because that would be better law, especially for this harbor, if there was a group of people that govern and decide.
That's what the committee says.
Yeah, I think,
So you're saying,
I think they would govern over, they would oversee the harbor master.
Yes.
That's not a bad law.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna move this meeting along. I'm glad you were all here for that entertaining discussion. Let me jump around here. Okay, we did the harbor master, right? All right, let's move down and, accept resignation letter from, Bev as St. Clair as librarian. Is there a motion?
I move we accept Beverly St. Clair's resignation. Didn't see an effective date. I thought it was.
It was immediate.
Immediate.
Immediately.
Like a week or two ago.
It was with, but I want to, with regret and appreciation.
I agree with the regret, although I must confess, I wish it hadn't been quite so immediate. I mean, we learned about it 5 minutes after we adjourned our previous meeting, which put us in a little bit of bind.
Yeah.
But, I guess I just had to say that. I also should point out that we've had 2 or 3 letters that are in the packet that, as well as Moira's comments tonight that have praised Bev's, performance. I'm not gonna bother to read them or embarrass people unless they want to be. So with that, further discussion?
I would just like to say, maybe after vote, I'd like to say something about the committee and everybody that worked to do that.
To do what?
What was done at the library along with Bev.
Oh, no, I say no.
Okay. I'd like to thank Beverly for all the work she did and helped to accomplish at Guilford Butler Center. She played.
louder, Sue?
I'm trying. She played a key role in the basement cleaning and rearranging the upstairs spaces, working alongside a dedicated group of volunteers. It took a lot of people to do that. Sorry, I don't like to talk a lot in public. I'd also like to thank Carol, Christina, Val Craftsman, Lynn Tootle, Terry Baines, Rachel Snow, and Sharon Setz, along with the many other volunteers who took their time and effort to make this cleanup a success. It was all done to create a cleaner and safer environment for everyone who uses the center. It's unfortunate that so many that in the past claimed to love that building and want it so much, worked against everybody that was working to make that goal. Change is inevitable, and I hope that we continue to move forward.
Thank you. Is there any other comments or discussion before we act on the motion?
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I need to challenge you in your statement that you didn't know this was coming, that you had no idea Beverly was unhappy. Because at your last select board's meeting, there were a lot of ugly things said about her and the library. That shouldn't have been news to you.
It was news to me.
What do you mean?
I
At
think
our
There were
last
several
meeting.
people who got up and spoke against Beverly and
Okay.
against the current library.
I think there were 2 people that read letters.
It was, say it again?
I think there were 2 people that read letters and one person read a letter from a non-resident. And
Right.
at the time, I didn't realize it was a non-resident.
Right.
And another person spoke for herself. If I recall.
But, and just in defense of what she said. That kind of stuff had been going on for weeks. It was going on before Beverly took the job.
Right.
So it came as a complete surprise that she quit. Complete surprise. I was shocked.
Yeah, I was there.
One of the things I think she wanted us to do, we cannot do. So, and I can't really get into what it is. It's just something that as a board, we cannot do.
Yeah, I was surprised because I think like a day or 2 before, she called me or emailed me or something and said, I'd like to inspect the playground equipment. who in town would be the right person to help me with that, something to that effect. And I said, I don't know, but I'm willing to volunteer and join you. So that's sick. I mean, that didn't signal to me someone who was gonna quit 2 days later. But I obviously misread it. Go ahead. Sorry,
Just wanna.
we can have a free for all now.
No, but I think. From the select board, we need better communication and there should have been maybe some phrase like. Terry sent out the pictures and so I went in there and said, congratulate him. But on the news feed that comes out. Kudos to all the people from the select board saying what they did. So we're getting the facts, so rumors don't take over because I was attending those advisory committees. And Bev reported the negative comments she was receiving in those meetings. And it wasn't fair. And so it's unfortunate, maybe she didn't share those negative comments with you folks, but I think we need to be giving an information and said, hey, take a look, do this for that's building, whatever's helping. Like, for example, what we do in the garden on the night, telling people they can help. We need to be pro about what the good is happening and tell people the facts of what's happening here in the town, so the naysayers don't win.
Well, I'm gonna respond to that and say. We've had a bit of staff challenge lately.
I understand.
As a matter of fact, crisis some days. I mean, Terry's here, the other day, and basically nobody here, right? Or Shannon was here, but that was her second day. Because, so we've had that, and I think, I think as a select board, we try to do fairly well that way. I mean, this could be a full-time job if we.
I would ask you to go back and look at the videos from previous select board meetings. From the day we started talking to Beverly about this, and between Sue and I, we were heaping, and John wasn't here, otherwise he would have too. We were heaping all kinds of praise on her, all kinds of praise.
So it's not true that she was not appreciated and not told that she was appreciated. So I'm not sure where that's coming from. And I worked with Bev a lot. I worked with that whole committee a lot.
You did.
And I thanked everybody while we were doing it. I mean, I probably logged, well, nowhere near as much as the Kratzmans and Terry, but I logged a lot of hours in there as well. So I have shown my appreciation for it. And I did speak at it in another meeting, and I thanked Bev and her husband for all that they arranged, the roll-off container, the rug in the book nook. So it's not true.
We all know it's not true. Many of us, I just raised my hand, start talking at the same
Go
time.
ahead.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
May I speak?
Yes.
Many of us praised Beverly. Many of us knew that there were lots of wonderful things that were going on there. So where's all this negative stuff coming from?
I think it's just a handful of people. Yes, unfortunately, sometimes a handful of people can be the loudest.
There's a group of people working to try to, in my opinion, trying to make it not be successful.
And we can't hinge upon someone. I mean, people are entitled to say what they wanna say. Pretty much.
That's clear.
Hmm?
And that's very clear from the rumors that go around, like the one that I had an affair with Arthur, and that's why Penny had to resign, because she couldn't
Right.
work in the same building.
But we're not in the.
Just to be
And
clear,
that's
that
not
is not true. Either side of it.
But the point is, we're not the room of police, I mean. It's hard in a public setting like that,
and it's not just a public setting, it's public officials have obligations and things, lines that they can't cross.
Right.
And sometimes people are asking us to cross them.
And I understand why you want to reserve the right to not respond to public comments. I understand that's sort of been going on for a long time, and it's a reasonable thing for you to do.
Well, it was like John McDonald tonight when he was asked about an individual bus driver.
Yeah.
I think his response was appropriate,
Definitely.
you know, in the back, I can't see who you are.
Yeah.
Oh, I,
Just real quick, does that include employees behind me at a select board meeting calling out liar, liar before I could even say what I wanted to say at the meeting? Because I hadn't done it out, and I was really upset about it because I never expected it, so I quit. I turned around and talked to that person instead of the select board. That'll never happen again. But I am not the only one that was part of things like that have happened in the recent months leading up to Penny's resignation and even after that. I have no problem with that. I like libraries. I will come to them. But I also had somebody come to me and wanted to know how I found out about the sink and the dishwasher and the water testing. And that was brought up at the select board meeting, and that's what I said. But how it got there is, that's so immature. And I really think that people need to look at trying to work together and see how they can make that happen. But if people are cost each other, coming and going from meetings and other public places, and they also are public employees or employees of our town, I think that's wrong, so wrong.
well, I would agree with you if that employee was working. If that employee was not working, then I think they have the same rights as everybody else.
That employee had a vested interest in the subject matter at that time.
Unitary interest, money, when you say a
The
vested.
issue with, this came up before the decision was made for anybody to move the town office over to Guilford Butler.
Oh,
And at that point, I asked about, or was attending to other options, and that included the Little Red Schoolhouse, which Jeff said they had their Christmas banquet there. Well, I don't think they would have it in the location up front, but I might be wrong. But there are other things that have come up when people have been accosted coming and going from these meetings. And it's not funny.
I think you should calm down because your blood pressure is going through the roof.
well, I
Disagree with any of it.
I must have not. That must have been when I wasn't here, yeah, okay, cause I don't recall at all what you're talking about,
But it should be on the recording.
but again, I mean, we can only. Try to control the meetings, but you saw what happened earlier, people are back and forth and, you know, so. But, I don't know. Okay, we got a motion on the table, don't we? I mean, on the floor.
Yep.
All those in favor? I forget what the motion was, but to accept her resignation.
With regret.
I had to think about it for a minute.
Okay, now let's follow that up with, path forward. I didn't know how to term this on the agenda, so, I'm talking about, when I say this, I'm talking about kind of the immediate, path forward. I mean, do we wanna advertise and try to hire someone to replace Beverly, or, I mean, there's a million options,
Well,
and,
Carol's here to address.
yeah,
that.
I see that.
Okay.
So, but I'm gonna first stop and ask the chair of the advisory committee to, share her thoughts.
My name, for those of you who don't know, my name is Carol Craftsman. I chair the Library Community Center Advisory Committee, which eventually, when we get our bylaws to you guys, our draft will be the Guilford Butler Center Advisory. Rachel and I received an email, Rachel, no, was the co-chair, received an email from John asking if we would speak at this meeting. The advisory committee had an emergency meeting yesterday because it's out of our normal schedule to discuss the path forward. And we'll go. There's an immediate need and there's a long-term need at the Butler Center. The immediate need is keeping the facility open, so I could see all three of you. To keep the center open, to keep the library open, to keep the current scheduled programs running. All of the programs that are happening, the canasta, the mahjong, the ballet, the tai chi, the youth rock, the gig jammers, I'm sure there's what lunch program, are all occurring within normal business hours. So they do not entail anybody opening early, closing later. There are other meetings that happen. There are resiliency committee meetings, there's facility committee meetings with their town entities. The Lions Club, which Jess is part of, has a meeting which starts before the building closes and then as you're a select board member, you get pulled up.
No, it's because the Lions Club has a rental agreement.
And they
with the
have
town.
rental lease with the town. So as a committee, we have agreed, and I will say we are a committee of diverse viewpoints and opinions, which I think plays to our strength. Because we represent not just one side of this, we represent many sides of points of view. And I think for the most part, we have agreed that there are some things we are going to disagree on, and everyone's has a point of view, and their point of view is valid to themselves. We haven't had any knockdown, drag out fight, we haven't generally had any streaming matches, so we're pretty good. We propose that the advisory committee work to formulate a plan. We don't have a total plan yet, but to keep the library community center open in its current formation. And staff it, the circulation desk with volunteers. We have some, we need more to make sure that we have people there to answer questions, checkbooks out, checkbooks in. And then the long-term need is to figure out what we're gonna do, how we're gonna manage it. And the advisory committee is offering to create an operational plan and create a staffing model based on research, looking at other small town libraries, what they're doing. Surveying, I guess is the best word we can come up with, the community to what the needs and wants are. What do they actually want? What do they need? This building has been open now for a few years. And, do we want longer hours? Do we want shorter hours? What is it that we as a community want? And to take that into consideration.
Carol, could you not put your chin down?
Sorry, I was looking at my notes. I'm sorry. Where was I? Okay. And
There you go.
to create a plan that fits within the town budget. Because there are wishes, but they're expensive, and we're not a community that has those resources. So to work, to come up with a plan, to operate, how we staff it. Do we need a library director? Do we need a program director? Is that person the same person? I don't know. We've had a couple different tries at this, and taking all that we've heard, all those comments that have been made, and see where we go. I don't know. I don't know what else.
We're working on it.
We're working on it.
We're in progress.
Right, but in the interim,
So
we got a building down there.
right, so in the interim, we, as the group, we have not divvied up the duties. We would be responsible for opening the building. I would be the point person, I guess logically, because I am the chair. To open the building, to make sure the building is closed during the current operating hours. And to staff the, library. All the programs that are happening that I mentioned, they all set up and clean up their own rooms. We don't do a thing. So when Canasta comes in, was in there yesterday afternoon. I think there were 6 people there. They would love to have more people. So if you want to learn to play Canasta, come Mondays at 1 o'clock. They set the tables up. They moved the chairs around, they put the room back. So it's the same, so for those of us that are opening, closing and staffing the buildings, those existing programs are not something we have to do. And but
Yeah, they're basically self-sustained.
they're self-sustaining. And they are attended, like anything, attendance fluctuates on that, but they are attended. And appreciated having space where they can come and do this. So I can't say that right now, I can't say that on Tuesday nights, I'm gonna open the building and close the building, or on Mondays, who's gonna do that? We just haven't worked that out because we only met yesterday. And so I can't say, that for now. I've been opening and closing the building, Lynn has been opening and closing the building. And then hopefully we can create a schedule, which, obviously we would let you know. To spread the load out, at least for the interim, some kind of a rotating schedule.
What about cleaning and the light maintenance and?
Well,
And just, and bringing to our attention or Shannon's attention or someone's attention, maintenance needs that are beyond just someone coming in with a screwdriver, so to speak.
As part of the committee, the advisory committee, there was I'll call it a position, that was maintenance. And Lynn had been doing that, where she would go through the building, and if there were issues, we had some issues with the boiler. That she brought that to Bev's attention, and then, they were tended to, and got whoever, I don't remember. So those things, we can certainly continue to address those things. That was part of our original, committee mandate in our bylaws to have these sort of sub-positions, I don't know what the correct term was. To look at, building man, that was what Lynn had volunteered to do. We can certainly continue to do that. As far as cleaning goes, I have no idea who's doing the cleaning. I don't know how that was arranged.
Brenda called, comes in every Friday.
Hours.
But just 2 hours.
And I think Candace has done some cleaning.
Right, and right now, the dirt factor is getting lower and lower because it's not winter. And it's pretty easy. I sweep the rooms usually before a program or after a program.
Yeah.
It's not that.
There's bathrooms and,
Well, I'm not cleaning the bathroom. I did that before, I'm not doing that now.
and I'm saying that's something you can't wait till the Brenda comes in on Friday.
No.
I think it's done on a regular basis, but not.
Yeah, they're lightly used.
Yeah.
But I don't,
I mean,
we'll have
I'll
to come up with a plan for that.
Yeah.
And we certainly can. We can come up with a plan or recommendation to do that. I'm just not cleaning.
The building is much cleaner than it's ever been. I can tell you.
Yeah, no, I know that, but that doesn't mean it's
Right.
not gonna stay that way till someone.
I'll say, if it's an emergency, maybe I'll clean it, but on a daily basis, I'm not doing that.
If it's a mess, I'll go in when I'm in there and I clean.
I'm sure that
It's, I think everybody's helped, yeah. I think
Everybody will,
Yeah.
But that is a reality.
Oh, it is,
Of course.
absolutely. Of course, yeah. And But so is cooperation. And I think we're finding we were able to cooperate and move forward and not keep getting stuck on these, who's cleaning the bathroom.
Right.
We need to move forward and I think we are.
Well, I don't disagree with that,
I
but
think we had a very positive meeting.
good, I thought you did the meeting that I attended.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what we're proposing, because this town deserves to have a library. This town deserves to have a community space where people can come and meet and gather, whether it's for the regular scheduled program or they just want to come in and meet a friend, it's good to have. And it would be, we as the advisory committee, and I'm speaking based on our meeting yesterday, and as the chair, we have agreed to do this. And to work and to help the select board and to help the town come up with a plan so that we don't have these many transitions. Nothing's gonna be perfect and stuff will happen. I use the nice word there. But to come up with some kind of operational plan and a staffing model that we hope will eliminate so many transitions in such a short time. I can't guarantee it, but that is our hope as a committee. To then present these ideas and drafts to you.
Well, it's the right time of year. I mean, you know, winter is much more critical in terms of securing the building.
Right.
Obviously. And I've had two people send me letters or emails suggesting that we need to think outside the box and hire a full-time librarian who's from away, so to speak. And I said, well, that's gonna be great, but the salary, I think, is budgeted at $2,000. So that's gonna present some difficulties probably.
May I speak?
Yeah,
Can I
yeah.
address that? We have great volunteers in the library who have expertise in, you know, working in a library. We have some current and retired librarians in this town that can provide us with the library know-how and expertise essentially for free. So I'm not saying don't hire a librarian, but they are expensive. And I'm not sure, and that is something that, you know, we have a town budget. They don't want to make this an expensive proposition for the town. There's so many other expenses that the taxpayers have to bear. And I think it's possible that we can come up with it. I know from other small towns in the area that have libraries that they have similar sized stipends for their directors. They do not have full-time library directors. And we don't even know, do we need a library director? Do we need a community center director? We don't know that. And I think we need to think about that and do some, you know, fact finding about what it is. You know, that's.
Thoughts, questions?
Yeah, and I agree 100%, and the Machiavellian task-oriented guy that I am. So when do you think you can provide a document to us with your plan?
Oh, you mean the plan going forward?
Yeah.
The long-term plan.
I'm comfortable with the short-term plan because I think John was concerned about keeping the building open and access to it and security. But those are all program activities
Right.
that, like you said, pretty much run themselves. And you've got a lot of good volunteers that are filling in the gaps and taking care of that. I'm not really concerned about that. What I am concerned about is the library.
Right.
Because I think we're required to have somebody named as a librarian to be in that group of official library, whatever that association is, that gives us the free bennies and all the kinds of stuff that we get.
Right.
And the select board would have to
Right.
appoint that person. So I think that's more of a midterm.
Yeah.
It needs
I
to
guess,
happen
yeah, you
fairly
say that
quick.
midterm.
That's
right. I believe it does not have to be a librarian, that is the library director position.
I agree.
Yeah, but is there any certification required or
There was not,
training
I
required?
didn't have any certification before.
Right,
Penny wasn't certified.
the main library commission has come out with proposals. We're not gonna go into that tonight. But those proposals which try and professionalize the libraries and how libraries operate. And if you follow their guidelines, then you qualify for monies, which gets us our internet and gets us interlibrary loans and other things like that. They have not formally adopted them. There has been a lot of pushback on them. They have revised them. What it does require to qualify is the library director needs to, I believe it is 4 hours of like continuing education a year. And your, I guess board of directors / advisory board also has to have some professional development to qualify for it, but that's a detail that needs to be fixed. I can double check with the main library, library commission about how soon we need to appoint a library director.
And to that point, would that job be posted, assigned? Would it be let out there that you're looking, these are, this is what we're gonna pay you, this is what we expect? To see if there are any interested people out there.
I don't think it's $2,000 a year.
But
Well, I don't think so either, but.
But to your point, yes, we're obligated.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
I think we should go through some sort of, we're gonna hire someone with a salary, no matter how small.
Right.
We should go through some sort of public process.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be nationwide search.
No, I didn't mean that, I mean, even if it's posted on listserv or
Yeah.
something.
But I think, but before we post the job, we need a job description.
Right, oh, definitely.
It is. What? Almost the beginning of May. Our next committee meeting is May 13th. We're not gonna get it done then. No. July,
Okay.
unless we call extra meetings. I don't know how the committee feels about that.
I'm comfortable with July for
Okay.
a long-term
Okay.
plan. And I also think that in creating the job description, we need to figure out the difference, the separation between the program director and the librarian, because they are really two different functions.
They are.
And traditionally, both the previous person and the one that just left, the library director kind of oversaw the whole thing.
Right.
And I don't know if that's the right model. You guys can make a recommendation on that.
And that's, I think what came up in part of our meeting yesterday was, right, how do we manage that library functions with the program function, and they're not
They're not the same.
the same.
But on the other hand, it's one building.
Right,
Having,
You're a small.
sometimes it's hard to have two seasons.
well, and there's the other side of it is that it is a small town, it is a small building with, a limited amount of space, et cetera. And then you have two people bumping heads.
Yeah.
Right.
So and that is, we are willing to take this on because many of us have volunteered in this library and other libraries and participated in programs. So I think generally we have a good group that. I'm so good.
We have a good group of diverse people.
Of diverse people who, I just completely lost what I was gonna say.
We're willing to try, yeah,
Moving forward.
we're willing to try and work together to move us into the future.
Sorry.
So tough.
So my last kibitz is, One of the reasons we are here where we are is because of money issues.
Right.
And I do know that between Bev and the treasurer, there were some agreements made and processes put in place that didn't exist before. I just want to be comfortable that those processes are still in place and
Yeah.
that we haven't lost that.
Harry, are they still in place?
Yes,
Yes.
we need to refine it.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to refine it.
Okay.
I think that's something, because we are a relatively young committee in terms of existence. We started in December, so. We've had 5 meetings, well, plus our little extra one on Monday. And some of the things that we started, like the, accounting for the monies and the finances. When we started it, and it seemed to work, but over time, the actual practicalities of it, we found that we need to, Terry says, refine some of the system and some of the other things. And yes, we do, our plan is at our May meeting to take one look at the draft and propose the draft changes for our bylaw, but there's a lot been happening that has preoccupied us.
Yeah,
For
sure.
No, with the bylaws and with something else. Wait, check my notes. Oh, and the building use form that Rachel was taking the point on. We have a draft, but I think we need for clarity to just take a look at them, even though they are in draft form, to just make sure that we like the draft we're sending to you. So we'll do that in May.
Could I ask a question?
Sure.
And maybe you know the answer to this, maybe you don't. How does the hours that our library is open stack up to say Cushing and Owl's Head? It strikes me, I could be wrong, and don't shoot me.
No, I'm not.
It strikes me, we're for a small little town, we're open a lot of hours.
We are open a lot of hours. We are open, I think yesterday we counted, we're open 22 hours.
Yeah,
It's a lot of hours, and that is also potentially on the table for discussion. I mean, I don't think there's anything that we are not going to talk about. I guess that's the best way to put it. To qualify for library services through the larger entity, you have to be open a minimum of 12 hours a week.
yeah.
And we have more than done that. Cushing, I did look at Cushing, and I know people who are on the board of directors of the Cushing Library, so I will be reaching out to them to find out how they're managing it.
Well,
I
Jeff,
believe
Jeff,
they're not as up, I think they're open.
Jeff knows the librarian there pretty well, it's his daughter-in-law.
Oh, Cushing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, then we'll have to talk.
But a lot of the hours that the library is open coincide with programs.
But the
you know,
building
such as-
itself,
Such as the
yeah.
gig jammers,
Right.
they're
Yeah.
open.
But you could have things going on in the library, it's not open. I mean, that's a
And that-
theoretical possibility.
And that is, yes.
Cause I heard you say could use more library desk people.
We use more volunteers, we're always looking for volunteers, and not everybody wants to come and sit for a long time.
Right.
And so that, that's also
Yeah.
on the table.
But the hours were cut back already some.
Yeah, we got back,
Well, when Bev took over, like some programs that started earlier in the morning were asked to be moved to within the library hours so that they wouldn't open at 8, they'd open at 10.
The library
building-
itself?
The building itself.
Bill.
No, I'm talking about the
Yeah.
library. The library hours were cut back?
Yeah.
I
Well-
don't think library hours were, they tried to make all the events be held within
No, I understand that, I'm talking about the hours that the lady that sits at the desk and checks her book out.
Yeah, I mean, they certainly could be adjusted, and that would be part of, talking to people in the community. I mean, it's what you want to say.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting that,
No, but
it just
I
strikes
do-
me as a lot of hours.
But I do, I think it's something that we too can track to see when are people coming in? You know, if
Yeah,
Friday afternoon tends to be busy, that's the day I'm off, or the time I'm off, it tends to be busy. Monday morning. This Monday was not so much, but that doesn't mean that's gonna be like that every time, but those are things that we seasonally do. Well, and summer, winter is very different though, so. Yeah, and it's just seasonal time, but that doesn't mean we have to be open more hours.
Right.
Doesn't mean. Yeah.
Consistency.
Well, and consistency, and, yeah, there's a lot of things to do, but.
well, I don't know that we need a motion here. I think what I've heard, I'm pleased that.
Me too.
I don't feel like we need to shutter the place. Not by any means. No, I don't at all. I mean,
Good.
but if you guys came in here and said there's no way we can run this, then I guess I wouldn't feel that way to kind of protect the building, for lack of a better word. But I don't feel that way. So, we wanna move on then?
Yeah.
You guys all set? Oh,
Can I just say
Yeah.
one thing? First of all, bravo, like, because it's not easy whenever you grow something brand new. I've been a teacher in a brand new school. And the first year is a roller coaster. And the thing that we look forward to is the strength of the people that are putting it together and understanding what hits and falls happen. And the emotions do get into that piece, but it sounds like these folks have been able to put a lot of good thought together so that we can have our community, and that's a place, that's our hub. And as a grant writer for this project, thank you for not closing it, because it would be very embarrassing if some of those grants, then I had to give them back. My share is fair.
But I ask one, you guys to contemplate one other question.
Sure.
For years, probably 6 or 7, at budget committee time, I've always advocated that we increase the salary for whatever, the librarian, what do you wanna call it? And it always got shot down, not because the budget committee shot it down, but the librarian did. And I thought, well, I wasn't aware of that was yeah.
Well,
But I think,
Start with Tina. She didn't want any more.
yeah, but so my question is, do you think it would be helpful, and don't answer tonight, if we had someone at town meeting propose to increase that amount? I'm not talking 80,000.
Not happening.
But, I mean, I just think we've sort of, artificially suppressed that over the years. And I think that might hurt us in getting someone like Jeff's daughter-in-law. So, something to think of.
Absolutely, take it up the committee.
Yeah, and that's, but someone would have to make a motion on the town meeting floor. I mean, I'd be willing to do that.
Right.
They hate me now anyway. But, okay.
Absolutely, yeah, I mean, we come to you for guidance because, you know, we have ideas and we're willing to draft them and bring them to you, but it's better, you know, we all have to work together.
I mean, even if you had 2 positions and they were each 3,000 each or something, I don't know. But, you know.
Maybe a chair and a co-chair or something.
Yeah.
I don't know yet. We'll find out.
Go ahead, yeah.
I was just questioning, what's the size of the advisory committee, and is there an opening because of the movement of Bev and all these other movements?
The advisory committee is 7 members, that's what it was created as, there are currently no vacant chairs. That may change if Rachel Snow is elected to the select board, I don't know if she's has to leave. I don't know what that obligation is, if she were to be elected to the select board.
Yeah, if she chooses.
What about acting director, is that person gonna take?
What's that?
If an acting director or a librarian is appointed, will that person's position on the advisory committee, which it had been in the past?
No, it wasn't.
It was.
No.
He just attended.
No, they just, the
Bev was on it, and then when she became the librarian,
She resigned.
we appointed, Puya.
Yeah, and when,
Yeah, Pam.
So the library director and that may or may not have to, whatever goes forward, the bylaws may or may not have to be changed. The library director was not on the committee, they were just there.
I have a question regarding the schedule, or if anything is happening with the building with respect to the facilities committee. Is there going to be work, renovation, closure? What's
Well,
the
they had,
timeframe on those?
they had a meeting today, I didn't go to this meeting, because I fell asleep.
To speak to that, rather than give you fragments of information, it's my understanding at your next meeting that Kevin Bonker, myself, and a few of the others have information. We have been talking
Yeah.
about what we're going to share and how we're going to share it, and then what the resources are from outside.
And what the post pages are.
Oh,
Yeah.
To vote and agree to everything.
Actually, they were gonna do it tonight, but I just thought with the harbor master issue and the RS 13 people coming down. And yeah, and this, it would make a really long night, so.
But to me, what they're doing is fantastic, and then, before, we need to know if. The rooms are gonna be there to keep all those events, how long, how big are they going to be? I mean, a lot of planning depends on the facility itself.
exactly, but again, I would caution you to please wait till May 12th. If you please, then you will have.
Yeah, I think
all
that,
these things answered and more.
we're hoping to get a good presentation about where things stand and, but I don't personally know, I haven't been that close to it, and I don't think maybe you guys have, but. But anyway, so certainly don't have any notes or anything.
But I will say that there's already been communication with that facility on changes that have been happening over the last month or so in the building, so. So there is communication going on there now.
And we'll make sure that that's YouTube so that people can access it at a later date. Is that right?
That's our technical department, I hope so.
All right, technical advisor, good work there. You ready?
Well, we have another commitment, which means I'm gonna miss the discussion on the warrant.
Yeah.
But so I looked at the warrant, town meeting warrant 2021. And in that warrant, in that article, the town gave the library permission to occupy Guilford Butler for a period of 5 years. And it was very specific at 5 years. There's no out clause in that, and the 5 years expires this June. And so. That's it.
So, yeah, it also, I think, said to use 1 or 2 rooms.
Well, no.
No, it wasn't that
No, it said
specific.
the library could occupy the building. You can go look at it.
Yeah, no, we
It's
can.
2021.
Good catch.
The thing is that clock is running.
Yeah.
If you also go back to the Hopkins will, it said that the $50,000 was for the care and feeding of the Little Red Schoolhouse or some other facility as designated by the town as a library. And I would argue that the Butler Center has not been designated by the town as the library, and therefore those funds have to stay in encumbrance wherever they are.
I could make
town.
I could make the argument that they have, they authorized the move, but it wouldn't hurt to reinforce it.
Yeah, I think you don't wanna, I had this discussion with Kristen regarding the Historical Society. And what she said was, you don't wanna run up against a probate court.
No, I agree. You never can be too clear.
So. You might wanna consider adding something to the warrant or.
Okay.
Dealing with that somehow.
Thank you for that input. Go ahead, is it about, what do you want to
No,
talk about?
not, I asked Walter, what, has the budget been done and can you get copies of it for the town?
It's been drafted and approved by the budget committee and select board, are we ready?
I'm not ready, I haven't, I'll get to it.
Yeah.
That's what I told Walter, I'm sorry,
And there's still one hole.
Okay, that's.
Hang out with my boy.
Yeah.
Come see Terry at a later date.
Yeah, I mean, it's conceptually, no, but it isn't physically.
Okay, that's all I'm gonna find out.
Okay, we gotta move, it's,
Thank you.
wow. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you. Yes.
You're good till July.
Shannon,
July.
our meeting's not usually this long,
No, they're
It's
not.
okay.
I expected it to be a long time.
Didn't the later vote about not demolishing the school change that?
I don't think it did.
I thought that's what we discussed it.
I don't think it's spoke to that.
I think it said for approximately.
Yeah,
I see.
well, we can look at that.
Yeah, we'll have to look at.
Make a note,
21 and.
you guys, Shannon, make a note to look that up. If you even know, okay, well, just, yeah, authorization to occupy Gilbert Butler. I guess would be the subject matter in general terms. Okay, execute warrant and notice of election for the budget validation referendum. Is there a motion?
I move we execute the warrant. For the budget.
Validation.
Yeah.
And this is basically a ministerial task. Where do we have to sign? Where it says, oh, okay, I see the three
It's in
letters.
there, it's in
Yeah.
here.
And you guys will fill in the blanks. Shannon will. Shannon.
I think there is a copy in there that all three can sign
There you
as
go.
well, depends on.
This one has original signature.
Okay.
So
Oh, this one,
they usually give us multiple copies.
Yeah, they give us like,
They sent us a bunch.
oh, so each
I have
one of
one.
us, where do we sign?
there should be,
On the line.
Right here. Although. What's this one? So I was in town sometime, so I had notified the voters. Oh, no,
That's the return, that's
Right, okay.
Does more than one person sign it? We just
Yeah, all
put
three
on-
of us signed it.
Yeah, we signed this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know why the law requires us to do that.
I think five, one's two.
I think the idea was initially just to keep us in the loop.
So is
Trash
this the
that
same
one.
thing? This one's my good thing.
This is the best.
Okay, I'm gonna move on if we can.
Yep,
Execute agreement with FFR. This is our collection agency, which we
Yeah.
already have an agreement with. Correct? And this is a renewal?
it's a different agreement.
It's a business associate agreement, according to Comstar. In order for them to send the data to a collection agency, they just have to have this business agreement in place. I think it's a protection of HIPAA. If
That makes sense.
yeah,
I make the motion, we authorize the chair to sign. And execute the business association agreement with FFR.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
The chair may actually read it before he signs it. Yeah, good idea. Okay, further discussion? All those in favor? I may take that prerogative. Oh, it looks like a long read.
Yeah, it does. It's pretty small print. too.
Small.
Yeah. Okay, we dealt with Beverly. We dealt with that. Okay, where are we down to? Let me out here, right?
Draft warrant.
Okay. So, this is, the warrant that's in front of you is a draft that was prepared by me and to some degree and Terry to more degree. Shannon, I don't know if you were involved in this or not, okay.
I just put it in the packet.
Yeah. Think I got the select board stuff right, but please feel free to check that. I did find that the 2-year person was, when I first did it, we still had a term ending 2029, and I said, well, that can't be, so it's now 28. But make sure that's correct. And then when we get to Article 6, I wasn't quite sure what to put in there. I know where the ORC is proposing to enact a mineral extraction ordinance. I don't know if that's the official title. or-
Yes, that's it.
Okay. And then, I think it's too long to be appended to here.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and then site plan review ordinance. Same thing, is that the?
Yep.
Okay. And, I assume that's too long to be appended here. And then I thought I understood from you that they were gonna, 8 and 9, we were gonna do. Some amendments to the land use ordinance and the shoreline zoning ordinance where they were out of sync with the new.
Mostly saying these items need to be either site plan reviewed or we'll see the other.
But there's a change.
Yes.
So,
And I think we're gonna have to do, the subdivision ordinance as well.
Okay,
is that an ordinance?
yep,
I don't think it is.
I think it's.
I think it's.
Might be a regulation.
Yeah, I think it's some sort of regulation, the state issued, the planning board had to adopt.
Yeah.
I can double check that.
I think we have a subdivision ordinance.
I know we have something that goes subdivision, but I don't know that it's an ordinance.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, I looked at it the other day, and it may be that we don't need town approval to do it because it is a state. Regulation, and they're the ones that changed what we need to do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
All right, we need to figure that out. Harry did all the numbers, so I will take a stab at reading the numbers, but I would request that Jeff, you do as well, because you're more familiar with something that might not look right. And Harry, did you change the lines? We're up above where it says C lines?
Yep.
Okay. And then. So we'll skip right through the budgets. Until we get to. What's next?
19 solicit obligations.
Yeah, that's the same as last year. Town 20 is the same. 21 is the same, 22 is the same. 23 is the same. 24, do we have a rate in there now?
7,
7, okay, and that's the state rate.
yep,
And 25. Oh, sorry, 25 is the same. What I did do was I took out the LD1 article,
Yes.
because that's gone away in state law.
thank goodness.
So I took that out. I know last year we had it in there and it had already been gone away, so.
I think it did as.
As we were putting it together, yeah.
So we do have subdivision regulations, not subdivision.
Yeah, I
ordinance.
think, I thought that was the case. Well, I'm not sure if that's something, how meeting has to change.
I don't know the answer.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I'll find out.
Okay. So this is a draft, everyone's gonna, more eyes on it, the better.
Mhm.
Even typos or anything.
Okay,
On
Bill's always a good typo guy.
Yep.
Yeah,
on 23, where it says, the town will vote to authorize the select board to transfer funds from. Unexpended balances and surpluses deems necessary. That's the one that we're hanging our hat on for if we have to pay a harbor master, that the town's already given us authority. Do we want, do you feel comfortable with those words given?
I do. Kristen thinks, she's commented it might be too broad,
Yeah,
but I'm willing to go to court and make that argument.
okay.
The town gave us permission.
Yeah, I agree. I'm comfortable with it, because it is very broad.
It is.
It doesn't say where we put it to, what we have to move
No.
it to, so I
But
think,
if all of a sudden we needed a roof here,
yeah,
um,
or harbor mess at the ball.
well, yeah. Okay, I think, anything else on the warrant? Is you?
all the stuff has to be to the printer by May 5th. For the town report?
Yes, May 5th for the town report. I would prefer to have a few days to get
Yeah,
everything
sure,
condensed into one file. So if you hire somebody by the end of this week, that would be amazing.
yeah,
If you
so,
didn't, I
So-
won't.
This is just a draft.
so the warrant's gonna have to go in and stamped as a draft,
Okay.
Yeah.
and that's what we've done the last
For the
2 or
last,
3 years.
yeah,
I did notice that looking at last year's town
Yeah.
report as I'm putting this one together.
Yeah, cause technically, we don't have to sign the warrant until 7 days before.
Right.
The,
I just
vote.
wanted you to be aware that whatever this is, that's
When the absentee ballot's gonna be available, that's coming up.
on May 9th.
Do we have them from RSU 13?
Shannon said they came.
I have applications, yes.
Oh, I thought Corey said the ballots came.
Unclear.
Then,
I will have to look in that,
then
into that.
notoriously, what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah.
You're gonna get on the phone and say, where are your ballots?
Right.
I'll leave it at that.
What I have looks like an application. It might very well be a
No,
ballot.
What you showed me was the application.
Okay, that's all I've received.
But
Yeah.
Corey
Yeah.
said the ballots came, maybe they came after you left the other day.
Maybe.
Okay, well, you guys can figure that out tomorrow, but I know that in the past there. On proposition, perhaps should be. And you've already put together a ballot. For the
Yes.
town, right?
Yeah. And Shannon was gonna print them on yellow paper.
Yeah,
The
That's
ones
what
you
we
gave me
have.
yesterday? Yes, those are
Yeah,
printed. They're on my
so-
desk.
the first selectman's position is. There's a competition between Rachel and Rich.
Yep. With
The
a line
second-
and a line for a write-in.
And a line for right, and the second one is me and no opponent and a line for a write-in.
Yep.
And the third one is, what's her name?
Andrea Gray.
Gray, with a line for a write-in, and that's a 2-year term.
And are we designating them as something as 1, 2, and 3, or A, B, and C, or? I think we have to do some kind of.
This started when Hannah was here, and I don't know, I think she just sort of kept track of what position. But I think that's a good idea. I think it should be like C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, because as we go forward, the fog of time is gonna get,
Yeah.
particularly if you get resignation.
Yeah.
You actually could put that right on the ballot.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, we probably ought to do
Probably should have been,
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's
Yeah.
what I think it should be.
yeah. And your 2 positions would be, who's up next year?
Alright.
So that could be 4, and then Sue could be 5. Not you, but the position,
Yeah.
yeah. Because it's gonna get, I know it,
So you want them to be seat 1, seat 2, seat 3?
I would suggest that, but.
Yeah, either way.
I kinda leave it,
Yeah, it can either be
However
3,
you-
4, and 5,
Okay,
or 1, 2, and 3.
okay.
And then we'll be either the front or the back.
yeah. I think it would probably be better to start off as 1.
I think it would.
Well, no, you were the first one elected on the referendum, right?
Yeah, yes.
So maybe it should be, that should be the 1 seat.
Okay.
I don't know,
So
you guys.
Yeah.
1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys can figure it out. But it should probably be scribbled on the,
On the ballot?
on the petitions that were turned in now, where it says town use only,
Okay,
you know.
I think Hannah distinguished them a different way, but I can
She did.
write that. on.
Well, if it make it, the way she did it makes sense. leave
Well,
it.
I think it was, yeah, I'm not, I think this would be clearer if we could.
Yeah.
Me too.
Okay. Quick claim deed. For Cora Boya, I understand she's come in and paid up everything completely.
Yep,
Right through today, right? Or whenever she came in.
just get some extra notes.
So is there a motion to execute quick claim deed to Doris Boyer for lot Dublin Road, 7 Dublin Road depicted as map 14 lot 064.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Discussion. The assessor's office, 54 Spruce Head Road, that's here?
The assessor's office?
Yeah, it has the address.
54 Spruce Head Road, Guilford Butler.
Yeah, but he's not the assessor.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
We're the assessors.
Yeah, but the assessor's office is
All right.
manned by the assessor's agent, right?
Yeah, well, I'm not,
Oh, you're talking about the maps being in the assessor's office?
well, this says the assessor's office is 54,
Or
which
maybe
is Guilford.
assessor's agent, assessor agent's office.
Yeah, we don't need to change it on this one, but
Yeah, it's been that one on every single one for the last
Yeah.
zillion that we've done.
we haven't done, he just put down there.
Well, I know, I just changed the address. It always said assessor's
But it always-
office.
Oh,
It never said assessor's agent office.
no,
That's because we were both in the same.
yeah, we were both at the same address, so it didn't matter.
Oh.
Now we're at different address. Sorry, I don't mean to get picky.
No, it's okay. Do you want me to change it and then leave one for you guys to sign?
Oh, I don't think we need to change it.
She's paid full and
Okay.
she has a problem 20 years from. Who knows where the assessor will be?
So for future, it should say assessor's agent office?
As long as he's gonna be down there, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, cause Penny did get back to me. And can't remember what I emailed her. I had 3 things, but she does not want to continue on the budget committee. So we can either accept her resignation orally to me, or we can declare the seat vacant. I don't care which path we should go.
Well, I make a motion that we accept her resignation from the budget committee,
Effective immediately.
effective immediately.
Okay,
I'll second that.
discussion? All those in favor? And why did I email her?
Also
Sure,
about
that.
the cemetery.
Yeah, I wanna talk to you about that, but perhaps in executive session.
Okay.
But what was the first reason?
Oh, to tell her to cease and desist?
No.
No, okay.
I have a copy of the email in there after the quit claim deed.
You do?
Yeah, so it should be in your packet.
I see hers.
I have one from you to her, John.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, thank you. What was the first thing, Jeff?
Just
Budget
following up on your email from April 9th regarding her intentions relative to the budget committee. And the only other thing noted was the cemetery issues.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, so no, it wasn't, I misspoke, I didn't have another reason, so she did get back to me. So, okay. I guess. There's a motion, further discussion,
I think we voted on it.
did we?
Yeah. We did.
Oh. Okay, what's next?
Payroll issues.
Yeah, where was the payroll?
Old business.
Did I skip it?
It's under old business.
Old business.
Oh. Oh, yeah. I think. 2 things, I'd like to see us vote on tonight, one is to mandate or require direct deposit. Just to give, Terry doesn't think it's necessary to need that, and people are coming in and signing up for direct deposit. But I think it gives them a little backup if somebody comes in and complains about it or something, so.
I agree.
I'd like a motion that we mandate or require direct deposit for all employees as of, Terry, help me out with a date.
June 1st.
Okay, you don't wanna go before that,
Well, it's almost May 1st.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
And people don't always move fast.
yeah,
And
okay,
and it'll take,
And that'll give time to nag.
yeah,
okay.
so move to.
Good, doing for discussion. Has there been any kickback about it, or
Not that I've heard.
no? You haven't been here long enough, so.
no, I haven't heard any complaints, so.
Yeah, okay, all those in favor? Okay, the other issue that we're hoping to Terry was hoping to deal with tonight is, outsourcing payroll. I still have concerns about this, but I'm only one. When are we talking for an effective date? 'Cause it's gonna take some time, I
It
think.
is gonna take time,
We could just leave that blank and let it say it, your discretion.
I mean, it'd be nice if we could start July the July payrolls being
Yeah.
outsourced. But to do that, I think we'd have to start relatively soon, getting it all set up.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking July 1st, no sooner.
Yeah,
What, do we have to pay them before July 1st? Cause it's in that budget, right?
the $500 is in that next budget.
Yeah.
$500.
$500 for setup.
Okay,
Yeah,
but then also the money to pay to do that is in that.
Right, we put that in the next
Yeah.
budget.
but he might help stop with setup and just say we can't pay you till July 1st. I mean,
Yeah.
people have done that before. You know? I don't know. And you're settled on this person that does a house head?
Yeah,
It's the cheapest I've seen around.
yeah, the other company just seemed to have hidden costs.
And it's per employee.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think you're gonna find you're not gonna save that much work, but that's just my opinion, so.
Oh, how long is the contract for? Is it year to year?
I don't know.
I don't know, Corey,
Like if we found out that it was just. to
we
make-
hated it,
Yeah.
let's do some, yeah.
Yeah.
Does he say? Jeff's got it in his hand.
It doesn't say.
Probably should.
It should have a,
Yeah.
yeah,
It says I'd be happy to draft a formal agreement.
Oh,
I
okay,
think
so
we
we're not even at that stage.
yeah, I think we need a formal
Yeah,
agreement. with
okay,
the
so why don't
state.
we just make a motion to, approve the accepting
In theory.
concept
Yeah,
and ask them to submit a formal. And maybe you can tell them about the $500 glitch at the time,
Okay.
so.
well, I mean, we must, if it's only 500 to get started, and we didn't have to start paying the other stuff until July, could we find $500? for it?
Yeah. That's like the striping, but for the landing, and I got them coming down to do the crosswalk, and then I said I need to do the landing after, and he says, well, why don't you do it at the same time? I says, because it's not in the right fiscal year.
Oh, God.
He says, okay.
There you
He acted like,
You can do it now, but you will get paid in July.
Who's doing it?
Adolphson, yeah, but he, the way he was like, what's the matter with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so do we have a motion on the floor or? No, we don't.
Well, let's see. A motion to authorize the treasurer and the clerk to move forward with shifting us to a third-party payroll service and to get an agreement from them.
Yeah, draft agreement.
Yeah, draft agreement.
Second,
I'll second that.
okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Me?
Where did you have a bad experience?
Yeah, that was one of them, I can't remember what the other one was. We ended up doing as much work. Basically, you just shovel it over there
I think Corey's more concerned about the liability
and, yeah,
and
I know.
the reports with IRS are just getting more
Yeah.
complicated
And the rules.
and.
But, you know, bottom line is, we're still responsible. We're the employer, you know, unless the contract is written really, so it puts it on them. But even then, the IRS isn't gonna go to them, they're gonna go to us. Okay. I keep losing the agenda. All right. Monthly reports. Shannon, you don't have to regurgitate the fire and all those calls and stuff. I mean, they're in the report, so you don't need to do that. Nice gesture, but.
It's okay, I'm pretty sure I just wound up copy and pasting it, just so you could see it
Oh,
front if you
yeah,
need it.
yeah. Abatements. Okay,
Now, I asked Kevin about that one property where he abated the whole thing and then did a supplement.
yeah,
He said he thought the auditor wanted him to do that way, but he said he prefers to do it the other way where he just abates the building that was gone.
see, it makes no sense to me to do it, cause now you gotta print a supplemental bill,
So he can redo that one.
huh?
He can redo that one and do it the way,
So we just debate them
just abate the house.
so that we wouldn't enact a supplement.
Right.
You
He said
guys
that's
follow,
what he-
you guys following us? The way he does it now is he abates the whole thing and then he issues a supplement just for the land.
Land, yeah.
And, you know, I mean, like if someone has a shed and a house and a land, we're just gonna abate the shed, we're not gonna
Right,
abate the whole thing and reissue it.
I agree.
Okay,
Okay,
so,
we're gonna do each one of these individually?
yeah, 'cause we're gonna get a little confused here, so which one are we? The supplements out? So
All the rest are pages, but the first one's out, right?
yeah. Yeah, so the other ones are just. So is that second one the amount of? Yes, that would have been, no. Huh. Carrie, help me.
I don't have.
Okay,
The warrants of the director, I'll be next.
Do you have the copies of them?
Yes, I did.
yeah, he's abating the whole thing, it looks like.
Yeah,
On that first one. 1040 Wolf Road, so we need to,
adjust the amount.
yeah. I don't think we can do that.
So can you put it off till the next meeting and?
I think,
Sure,
I think so.
if they don't care, are they itching for it or?
Oh, you know they are.
All right, we can do the other, the third and the fourth one. Although, you know, aren't they all 1071?
The last three are all the same property,
Yeah, let's,
Are they all, they're not,
but the first abatement and supplement are a different property.
Right, and that's the only one we need corrected. We need the abatement.
oh, okay, that's 066.
so they had 3 buildings removed?
No, it's 3 years.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we can do 3, 4, and 5, right?
Right, correct.
And 6?
See us say.
Well, it's 2025, 2024, 2023, okay, so 3. So someone wanna make a motion?
Where are you seeing the?
Up here in the corner, so. Years.
Oh,
I'm going by
Okay.
the,
I'm going by this.
I'm going by the notes.
So I'll make a motion to abate Maine Lobster Processing at 1340 Road, Spruce Head, map. And lot 00171. Amount abated is $369.69. For a total property value of 33,700. And that's for the year of 2025.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion? All those in favor?
And I'll make this exact same motion. Except for the year 2024.
For the amount of,
Oh, it should be.
no,
Yeah. yeah,
was it the same?
Oh, no, it's not. It's a little different. I'm
Should be a
sorry.
little different each
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, because it went up.
Yeah, for $336.70 on a value of 25,900.
I'll second that.
All those, discussion, all those in favor?
And the exact same motion with an abatement amount of $321.84 for property value of $21,600 for the year 2023.
Second,
I'll second that.
discussion, all those in favor? Okay. Donation, we got some added here too. Is there a motion to accept $500 from Spruce Head Co-op? For the fire department?
So moved. Thank you, co-op.
All those, discussion, all those in favor? Is there a motion to accept a $500 donation from the library from the Spruce Head Co-op?
For the library.
For the library.
Yes, thank you again, folks.
Second?
I'll second that.
Motion, yeah, okay. All those in favor? You get that, Shannon? Who moved that and seconded it? You did? Okay.
Anything I miss, I will be looking over the video
Yeah,
again.
yeah. And you have other donations?
I gave a list to.
Yeah.
to-
And you want me to just
Can
do
you
them all
make
at
the
once?
motions then?
Yeah.
Can we do them all in one?
Are they all the same?
They're all for the same thing.
Okay,
Donations to the Conservation Commission for the Chewonki Owls presentation, donation from Stephen Snow for $200, Pam Tripp $30, Kim Colburn $50, Candace Smith $20, Wendy Roberts $50.
and those are all for the owls?
And,
Yeah,
and Rachel Snow for 49.
oh, and Rachel Snow for 49. I didn't have her on here.
40.
To get to the total amount due.
Okay.
So that's all the owls?
That's all the owls.
That's one of those backyard talks. or
Yeah.
something.
Second.
All those in favor, discussion, all those in favor? Okay, other donations, or is that it?
That's it.
And I make a motion that we approve the warrants that we're gonna sign.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all those in favor? Correspondence, we have a letter from Mailer. About noise and beep beeps and whatever. Personally, I don't think there's anything we can do about it.
Nope.
Okay, and we also had a letter or an email from Cliff. Asking us if we had any interest in that Safe Streets and Roads grant. My personal, when I first reviewed it, it was kind of bigger than us. In terms of what you had to set up for infrastructure behind it and, but. If someone else wants to take it and run with it.
I felt the same way. I think, I don't even think I can get that. I'll find it.
Well, it says municipalities.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see if we had a regional. Route 1 corridor grant or something, you know what I mean, or right from Camden to. The Thomas and Waldeboro or whatever, but. All right. So you don't have any interest in doing that, yeah, okay. We haven't had any fatalities on town roads in a long, long time, have we? On town roads.
Yeah, yeah.
Not counting 73.
Right, I know,
everything happens.
yeah.
Yeah,
131, here,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know if they've been in our town or in St. George, but. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be hard to make a statement in need.
Yeah, that's what I was reading.
Yeah.
I just didn't think we.
And I wonder if when he was looking at that, if he was thinking of all the roads that are within town as being town roads.
I don't know, yeah. I'll talk to them, I see them all the time, go why am I not? Okay. Do we have to schedule future meetings? Oh, while we're on that, May 13th. We're invited to Thomaston. To talk trash.
Okay.
With the other select boards and the Owl's Head Co-op. Board. So, I don't know, do we need to post that?
If you and I are gonna go, which I think we are.
I'm planning on, going.
Yeah, I'm planning on going to.
We probably should.
We should post.
Okay. So we do wanna post something, and it wouldn't read public comment, and pledge of allegiance, because we're just attending their meeting, so. You could just put the date and time and the place,
What time is?
6.
I think it was. I'll double
Yeah,
check.
and where in Thomaston is it their town office?
Town lot, correct. Yeah,
I will make sure that goes out. And then the last thing was, did you guys wanna pick one of the covers?
Yeah, and we also need to set meeting dates,
Yes,
yeah. So
we can pass those down.
the normal meeting dates would be when?
Well. 26th. I can't do the 26th. Can do the 12th.
But they just moved the fire trucks to different places.
They did.
Different position.
Terry and I were thinking the ones where the fire trucks are facing away from each other was better, cause it could like wrap around the cover.
Well, and it's better, it's a
Better
better
quality,
shot, it's
yeah.
better quality.
It looks better on the computer too, the printer didn't do it justice.
Oh, hang on,
So let me get my calendar.
have we agreed on a dedication? Oh, never mind.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
We did?
Yes.
Where is the
Okay.
dedication?
We did,
Yeah, we
We
did,
agreed on
we
it.
did,
Was.
yeah.
Corey was
You could. put that one.
adding to, Bill Road.
I'll talk to her about that tomorrow. Add it to my list.
So we're looking at the 12th and not the 26th.
Yeah. I can't do the 26th. I could do the 9th. Do the 12th and the 9th.
12th and the 9th?
9th of June?
But aren't we talking about May?
Yeah.
Yeah.
12th and why 12th and
Oh,
9th?
I'm sorry, 19th.
Okay.
I scribbled over the one, so I didn't see
I have
it.
a plan.
Okay.
I'll skip it though.
Are you available that night, Sue?
The 19th, I have the shellfish.
Yeah. You know,
Well, that's a good excuse.
we're gonna have to have a
Yeah, I mean, if I
public
can,
hearing that last week
For what?
for all the ordinances.
Oh, the two, well, actually, 3 amendments,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have
Okay,
a
well, let's
status
schedule
quo.
that.
So do you want to do the 12th and the 19th?
Why don't we do like the 12th and the 27th? Yeah, and we make the 27th a public hearing,
What's the 27th?
a Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Yeah.
Now I gotta go find my calendar again. Come on. Why does this thing go slow when I want it to? Yeah,
Wednesday, the
good by me.
Yeah.
public hearing on the 27th in conjunction with the select board meeting.
And we'll have to get notices out about the public hearing. Will you work?
Which way do we wanna do it?
What was that?
Which way do we wanna do it? Public hearing then select board? Or select
Yeah,
board
'cause
then-
I think we gotta put the exact time on the button.
At 6?
Yeah, okay.
You start at 6 or,
Six, I think 6.
Yeah.
and does that have to go in the newspaper?
Oh,
I
I don't know.
Well, I'll defer to Sue, because she found, because I thought we no longer had to do that, except for emergency meetings. And we didn't have to put it in the paper, as long as we, had a web page and we posted.
Yeah,
It's
but we were,
near impossible to get something in the paper
I know.
because you have to have such.
Well, nobody can read them because they're all online, who knows where to find all that stuff.
Right, exactly.
Or you need to actually pay for the subscription
Yeah.
to the newspaper, so you can't even get access to it depending on which paper it is.
Right,
Like, I'm
yeah,
pretty sure the Village Soup, you have to have a
you do have to.
login now.
Yeah, you have to.
yeah,
Yeah.
but we need to put it, if it's required to put it in paper, we need to.
Yeah.
Because it could invalidate the ordinance.
Yeah, but I'm. You can follow up on that, Terry, but I.
Yeah.
Or Shannon, I'm sorry. Keep usurping her.
You can always call MMA.
That would be a good way to do that.
MMA legal, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but. Yeah, they're good at that generic kind of stuff. They're not gonna say, they won't help you, they won't give you legal advice, for example, I would say on the harbor master issue.
And I don't know if you wanna look forward to June, but June 9th, I cannot meet, that's graduation.
We can't do it.
We can't do it either.
That's the election.
Oh, Okay.
That's election.
I knew that date was important. I was like, what else is happening that day?
Yeah, well, maybe we can meet once in June, July, and August.
That'd be awesome.
Well, we used to do that.
Yeah, well, and yeah, and the 16th, we're gonna be at the town
It's
meeting.
town meeting.
Yeah. And we gotta have a meeting for appointments, so that's something Shannon can start working on. Who's expiring this year and calling them or emailing them, and are you already on it?
Town report, election, appointments.
Yeah,
That's gotta be the order.
So the 23rd.
but I mean, it's something we could start working on, to figure it out, whose term is expiring. And contacting and say, do they wish to be reappointed?
Yeah, they moved to Tuesday,
Oh, wow.
when it went to Warren.
made my list.
We need that for the town report anyways, right?
But that's okay, cause we're not gonna meet
Who's-
on the 19th, so
Fire.
I'll just not
People's
go to
terms
that one.
expire.
Cause I'll get to. the
Well, we just have who's list, we
Yeah.
just have them listed and when they
Right.
expire.
16th? No, that's
Canada
the
did
town
that already,
meeting,
so-
23.
Oh, did it?
23rd.
We better have a chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we done?
Yeah.
Did you wanna do executive session?
I did. Not on the agenda. But I'd like to make an adjustment to the agenda to do a brief executive session to discuss the personnel matter.
I make a motion that we enter into executive session in accordance with 405(6)(a) to discuss a personnel matter.
Stuff with.
Yeah, definitely, stop recording.
So that YouTube